John, you got everything queued up?
Tonight's edition of our nation's sports show is dedicated to the memories of Lewis Nix III, Irv Cross, and Joe Altobelli, who all passed away this week. Nix was drafted in the third round in the 2014 NFL Draft by the Houston Texans. Irv Cross was drafted in the 1961 NFL Draft by the Philadelphia Eagles. His first stint with the Eagles lasted from 1961 to 1965. His second team was with the Los Angeles Rams in 1966 to 1968. And lastly, finishing out his NFL career in 1969, once again, with the Philadelphia Eagles. And Joe Altobelli, he was the manager of the 1983 World Series champions, the Baltimore Orioles. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the entire family of Lewis Nix III, Irv Cross, and Joe Altobelli. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we dedicate tonight's show to these three men who left their legacies, their lives, their marks on the world, around in the world of sports.
Remember what I said 2 weeks ago? Just when you think you have all the questions answered, those questions still remain unanswered. This week in the National Football League, J.J. Watt dropped a bombshell on the world of sports, signing a 2-year contract with the Arizona Cardinals. Joining his former teammate in Houston, wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins. Also, last week on our Nation Sports Show, we took a trip to the Wild Wild West, previewing our first week of the upcoming 2021 MLB season. Tonight, we take that second trip to the Wild Wild West, previewing the AL West. Tonight, we make our predictions on all the teams in the AL West. So we figured we had to bring on a certain person who knows the AL West all too well. A contributor of our nation's sports show, Hijacker Mike. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we talk to you about the world of sports. Tonight, any day in the NFL, NHL, MLB, the NBA. And also tonight, we have a special guest joining us tonight, Sirius XM Program Director of Fight Nation, Mother Marissa. Tonight, we talk to her about the upcoming UFC 259 pay-per-view. So nation, strap on your seatbelts, cause it's time that we rock and roll as we talk to you about the world of sports. The nation speaks next. Turn me up. Turn me up. Turn me up. Turn me up. From the gridiron to the court, talking all that is sports. Members of the Buzzard of a Nation bring to you our nation's sports show. Here are your hosts, John Blake, Carl Ross, Kevin Statman McDonald, Hijacker Mike, and Stephen Lyon.
Welcome, everybody, to the latest episode of the Our Nation Sports Show, coming at you like we do every Thursday night right here on YouTube. If you want to get in contact with us on the show, you certainly can in two different ways. Option one, is go to our Discord server, which is discord.gg/busted open, the Busted Open Nation. Go down to where it says Our Nation Sports Show, and that's where you can get in contact with us. If you want to comment or have a question, or you want to call in, that's your way. Option 2, if you're not on our Discord server and you're watching us through YouTube, you can ask us there as well. Or the third option is social media. For social media, you can go to our Facebook page, Twitter page, Instagram, you name it, we're there. Let me bring in the cast that I got here. Starting off out west, Hijacker Mike. Hijacker, how you doing tonight?
What's happening, y'all? It's a hell of a night. As you can see, I'm sitting with a background of somewhere I'm hoping to be this season, the Oakland Coliseum. So your boy out here in the West is ready to roll. Let's do something.
Yeah, absolutely. Gonna go now down to our stat man, Kevin. Kevin, what's going on, buddy?
Not much. Just another Thursday night doing our Nation Sports Show. And, well, Deadpool is in the house tonight. I think we're going to have a good show tonight.
Oh, that's without a doubt. Gonna travel now down to North Carolina for our audio producer. That would be Stevie Wonder himself, Stephen Wine. Steve, how you doing tonight?
Hey, yo, let's go talk some sports now.
And finally, and I bring him up last because tonight, folks, as you can see in our title, is our 1 month anniversary. And this guy has been one of the driving forces behind the show. He is the reason why we have Mother Marissa on tonight. And he's also the reason why we have our guest tomorrow, which we'll get to in a bit. And that's Carl Roberts. Carl, how you doing tonight?
What's up, you sports nuts? Let's get the show going. Happy 1 month anniversary, guys.
Yeah, we'll start off with that, guys. This show started off as an idea that Steven and I were talking about the end of last year. And obviously people know now, I explained it when we did our first show. After we did the Gabby Awards for the Nation show, we got the green light to do this. And guys, only been a month. Anybody have any thoughts or comments on the fact that it's been a month before we get into the sports talk?
Dude,
Yeah.
we're having fun.
Having fun. It's a lot of fun, sitting around with a group of guys, talking about sports and stuff. It's a lot of fun. If something is on our mind, man, do we express our views on something? Because if we don't like something, we're going to call these teams out. We're not trying to say that they're bad people, but we're going to critique your play. If you're doing good, you're doing good. If you suck balls. It's simple as that.
Yeah, we've seen those rants happen before, but
We might get one tonight.
couple.
Yeah, there might be a couple.
But Hijacker, what were you going to say?
I'm just saying, it's 1 month, John. You want HJM to come out and bring you a cake? Because he's sitting right next to me, right over here. Nah, it's all good, man. Hijacker's with you tonight, man. Let's have some fun.
Yeah, but guys, seems like every week there's more and more stories coming out in the world of the National Football League.
Yes.
And we're going to start off tonight's program with what's going on in the world of the National Football League.
Yep.
I know our voiceover guy mentioned about JJ Watt. We'll get to JJ in a second. But we had some interesting news break today. According to Mike Silver, and according to Bleacher Report, the Seahawks, as we mentioned last week, Russell Wilson said he will accept a trade to 4 different teams. Apparently, word has come out today now that the Seahawks will listen to offers now from those 4 teams. Now, the teams, if I remember them correctly, and Stephen, you're good at memory, it was Dallas, Chicago, New Orleans, and Las Vegas.
Yes.
Okay.
Really? Really? That team?
Yeah, that team. Yeah.
So Los Angeles, which one? The Chargers with Justin Herbert or the Rams where they just got Matt Stafford?
I really just say Los Angeles? I meant Las Vegas.
Okay. I've heard that. I'm like, wait.
That's
LA
because he's
set.
from New York.
Hey, you're from Jersey. US.
Well, no, I
Hey,
say
all you
that
guys are from
because
Boston.
you got a guy out there that's supposed to be your future, right? He was drafted into the team. I was a part of that team when they drafted him and following him.
Yep.
Now they pick up Mariota, which I think he should be their team right now. Mariota should be that guy if they're not having the same thing about Carr, but now they want to jump in the Wilson sweepstakes.
Why? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, Carr had one of his best seasons last year since his leg injury in 2016. Why did you have to fuck with things, Las Vegas? Just because you're in a big ass city doesn't mean, oh, we got to go get the nice luxury quarterback. You got to get another quarterback. Come on, cut that crap. Come on.
Someone get Gruden an Oakland hat again.
Well, no, speaking of Gruden, like, yeah, he was great as a color commentator for Monday Night Football, but you also saw that he was a little out there at times, with it constantly doing the spider wide banana trick or whatever the hell he would go and say on Monday nights.
Yep.
Didn't he have one of his little sit downs with Carr?
I think he might have had like that quarterback bus with Derek Carr. It's like, so you liked Carr as a color commentator, but now you don't like him as a coach.
He ain't the guy for him.
Somebody point me in the right direction that makes sense, please.
You know who Gruden wants? Who? Rich Gannon.
Correct me if I'm wrong. He actually did a tape study with the Buccaneers against the Raiders. He was like, you know what? If we're going to win a Super Bowl, you know what I'm going to do, guys? I'm going to teach you every trick in the freaking book that old Rich Gannon knows. And that's how they won. 48-21. Sorry, 48-21. 5 blistering interceptions by Rich Gannon. Not good.
Weren't there like 3 of them taken back for a pick 6?
Correct.
And don't forget, 5 times we saw Jerry Rice wide open across the middle in that secondary. So
as he's drinking.
Yep. And this ain't no beer, baby. This is sweet iced tea, baby. So let's go.
Okay.
Let's go.
All right, let's get back to the sports here for one second. If Wilson were to be traded and Seattle gets the right offer, with the teams I just mentioned, Las Vegas, Chicago, New Orleans, and Dallas are the 4 teams, which one do you guys think he will ultimately end up if he is dealt?
Dallas, because I imagine Jerry Jones will do whatever it takes to try to go and land Russell Wilson. He's a Super Bowl winning quarterback, and he almost won 2 if Pete Carroll would run the ball with Marshawn Lynch.
Hey, I mean, I even questioned that final play in the Super Bowl.
Yes,
I questioned that after screaming myself hoarse as I watched that interception on a replay.
Yeah, it's like, why would you pass when you've been running against us all game?
Yeah, especially where it's 2nd and goal from the 1. It's like, come on, you've got and like Bill's not taking a timeout. I was sitting down with a friend and my ex, and I'm just like, I'm already dejected because we saw yet another circus catch with what was it, Tyler Lockett, I think.
Yes.
Curse.
And Curse. Thank you, Steven.
Yeah, Curse.
And I'm sitting down. I'm like, oh, here we go again.
Just turn off the TV, and then that interception.
And then all of a sudden, my buddy jumps out of his recliner screaming, "Oh my God, an interception! Oh my God!" We're all screaming, jumping up and down. I felt bad for the person in the apartment below us. We did apologize to him a couple days later. He went, "It's okay. Everybody else was screaming too, so I figured something good happened."
Oh, man.
I could see him going to Dallas because, one, they have the issue with Prescott.
Yeah, what's he going to be like after the injury that he suffered, after the compound fracture?
Exactly.
And
so in a way,
him
they
is gonna be
do
too
need a
much.
quarterback.
Yeah.
Okay, but here's the thing. Like we talked about last week, Wilson's over 30 already. He's 32.
Doesn't matter.
I don't think that matters anymore.
That
Look at what
doesn't matter
Brady's
right
doing.
now.
Done, it doesn't matter.
You don't think so? Because
Dallas needs a quarterback.
No.
Prescott is going to be a 2nd string quarterback at this point if he comes back.
You know what? I'll say this. I could see him going to Dallas, but also, too, what about Drew Brees?
That's what I was also contemplating. And then I'm like, no, he's better off going to Dallas.
I get the Dallas move. I get it. But at the same time, too, the Saints need a quarterback.
Okay, I get what you
Rumored.
guys are
What about
saying.
Jameson though?
Yeah, you
He's
got
not,
Jameson.
He's not
Right.
good enough.
That's
Drew
why I'm
Brees-
like, I could see it, but I really see him leaning more towards Dallas. If
Yeah, but
anything.
I
saw
think
Drew give him a kiss on the cheek and said, "This team is yours."
Oh, I mean, look,
He gave the-
Jameis Winston's the only player in NFL history to be a 30-30 guy. Like in
Yeah.
baseball, it's just, this isn't really a good 30-30 guy.
okay, but here's my thing. What about Chicago? Do they really trust Nick Foles?
Or Mitchell Trubisky.
Exactly. I think he goes to Chicago, and let's be honest, he goes to Chicago. Those Green Bay Chicago games get an extra spice added to that. I think at this point he ends up, like I said before, he ends up in Chicago. I don't think Dallas is going to be a great fit for him because let's be honest, like I said before, I play the whole age factor. He's 32 years old right now. By the time his contract's up, he'll be 35. But the fact that he's a out-of-pocket style quarterback, is he really going to help Dallas get to that promised land?
Yeah.
You think?
Oh, yeah, big time.
Probably.
Big
I don't-
time.
I don't
He
know.
can learn those plays faster than most people can.
I get that. I get what you guys are saying, but I'm still sticking to my gun. I think he ends up in Chicago when it's all said and done.
Ooh, I could see Dallas or New Orleans.
It's between those two, but I'm going to say Dallas.
Yeah, no, I say Dallas.
Which team has the better receiving corps? Chicago or Dallas?
Dallas.
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 And CeeDee Lamb just right there.
Mhm.
He showed that he's a legit player this past season. Every time I watched him, I'm just like, yeah, that's a guy I wish the Patriots had drafted.
And he's gonna make Cooper better out there as well.
I forgot he'd have Amari Cooper.
I know. You forget that weapon that they had with Cooper.
That secret weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, he once was Oakland's money in the bank guy there, but they, something just fell apart and the team just went to shit. And now all these guys, Khalil Mack, Amari Cooper, number 1 picks. Now all of a sudden, they're all on the bubble and they're all about to be discarded in the middle of their careers.
Yep.
Because they're not Gruden guys.
Mack and Cooper were barely 3-4 years in, and now Carr, he's in his 7th. He'll be entering his 7th season this upcoming year.
Something like that. Yes.
Yeah,
Final year in his contract. So I thought if he goes anywhere, I'm thinking he's going to go to Chicago.
I'm just leaning towards Chicago just on the fact of A, his age, and B, it'll make things in that division intriguing, to say the least.
Again, and John, I get the premise on what you're saying is age, but to me, age is nothing because look at Tom Brady. He went to the Buccaneers and won a Super Bowl in the first season.
Okay, you can't compare every quarterback to Brady.
Yeah,
Steve,
and
hold on.
Steven,
You
I
got
said the
one
same
better.
thing.
You got one better than that. Look at Brett Favre when he left
That's
Green Bay.
right. When he went to the
Jets,
he went to
Jets.
the Vikings.
And he made the Jets relevant.
Yeah.
Yes.
Look at his age then.
Yeah, age
doesn't matter. It's how you play
Age
the game.
does not matter.
Yeah.
John, I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, this guy already he has nothing to lose right now. He's already won a Super Bowl. He's a great quarterback in his own right, and
Dallas needs a quarterback.
Dude, you
more than the Bears do.
You can make the argument, Carl, that these 3 teams need a quarterback.
True. But Dallas is the one that's diehard needing a quarterback.
Yeah.
Well, I got a comment here from Marks in New Mexico on Discord. He says CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, and Michael Gallup. If they get a tight end in free agency, this can be a good team.
There you go. Right there's your team.
Yeah,
And
right there.
Don't forget they have Ezekiel Elliott.
Oh,
right.
If he has a good
Nikes.
pass
I
attack,
forgot about that.
Might they want to call
Remember.
Jay Novacek or
Right.
Jason Witten back?
yeah,
And-
or
well,
Kyle
and
Rudolph is no longer with the Vikings. That'd be a good
That's
fit in
right.
Dallas.
Thank you, Kevin. Yes,
You
know,
we forgot about that.
Hunter Henry wants
what's
to
the
go
dude
and
that
play
was
with a
in
good quarterback.
Cincinnati a few years ago?
Hmm.
What's the tight end from Cincinnati who was really good out there? He kind of disappeared.
Oh,
What's his
He
name?
would fit perfectly
Tyler
there
Eifert.
with that squad.
Yes, thank you.
Who's
Yep.
that?
Tyler
Riford.
Eifert. So yeah, no, hi Jackie, you're right. That was another good one that's kind of disappeared into obscurity a little bit.
Mhm.
Yeah. You know, you bring him and you put him around this kind of a core, you bring out the veteran guys.
Yeah.
You bring out the better. You know, if you got 1 and 2 powering you, you're going to be a hell of a number 3. You're going to be in that slot and you're like, dude, I'm going to run my middle cross routes. I'm going to take my shots across that middle, but I'm going to be somebody with this team. I want to make a name for myself as well as help this team.
Carl, do you have any comments from YouTube?
yes, I do. We have from Ezra. Good old Ezra. As much as I support Taberski and Foles, I can't trust them to lead the Bears the future. Both players are great at times, but they can't keep a constant performance.
And Ezra's
Consistent
right.
performance.
Yeah.
Ezra's right, because Trubisky is he can be good at times, he can dazzle you at times, but then there's times he throws those picks and you're like, dude, what the hell are you doing?
Absolutely.
But getting back to what Hijacker Mike was saying about the core for Dallas offense.
Mhm.
One player just got released from a team that would be perfect for them to pick up, and it's a wide receiver.
Mhm.
Golden Tate got released by the Giants.
Ooh, that's
Oh,
right.
that's right.
Yeah.
So if Dallas picks him up and
Yep.
you bring in Wilson, you're done.
Oh,
Ooh, ooh,
welcome to the
that's
a
NFC
team to
East
beat.
champs.
Okay.
That
but-
is a team to beat.
That's
Okay, but
that's an
Russell-
NFC East champion team at probably 9-7 because it's Dallas.
Okay, but we're also forgetting about another one. You were saying before about they need a tight end. Who did Minnesota just release?
Kyle Rudolph.
Hey,
Because
John.
Dallas, that team's loaded.
Hey, John.
Yeah.
We got a caller on Discord. You want to take a caller from John in South Jersey?
Yeah, let's go to John in South Jersey.
All right, John in South Jersey. Go ahead and unmute yourself and come on in on our Nation Sports Show, brother.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. Happy
What's up, brother?
anniversary.
Thank
What's
you.
going on, fellas? Here's my quick take on it, and it might be a little bit of a hot take. Wilson is going to demand either big money or big draft picks. Who can afford to bet that much money and that many draft picks
Mhm.
on him?
Mhm.
Forget who needs what other pieces or parts, like Dallas, needs a tight end, or if Chicago needs a quarterback or not.
Mhm.
Who is willing to bank that much of their future
Mhm.
and that much money to get them in their uniform?
Mhm.
Because for me, if I'm Russell Wilson, I want the hell out of Seattle, because as long as Pete Carroll is still there, they're not going anywhere. 2, who is going to protect my now aging quarterback ass the most? Meaning, who has the best offensive line? Dallas's offensive line is patchwork at best right now. Granted, you put Russell Wilson in at Dallas, yes, you are winning the most awful division in the NFL, the NFC East, the division nobody wants to win, which my football team plays in. And we can't get a quarterback either. So my take on it is if it's only those certain teams, who can afford? Now, I mean, could you throw a boatload of money at them? Sure. But Seahawks are giving away their franchise quarterback. They're going to want more than money in return.
Mhm.
If he gets paid, fine, but they're going to want something too. So my take would be, who can afford to give up the most draft picks and mortgage their future on Russell Wilson? Thanks for taking the call, guys.
Thanks,
Thank
brother.
you, John.
John.
Now, quick note, guys. Didn't Houston just release 2 offensive linemen this past week?
Oh,
Yeah.
Because
So, yeah.
they are
Yep.
trying to keep their star quarterback.
Yeah, and
Not
that's
only
so
that-
doubtful.
Oh, hold on.
Hold on. The Lions just made a big, huge move. They released their cornerback, Trufant.
You know,
Really?
yes, they did.
Wow.
So it's interesting on who's they're releasing.
My God.
Yeah.
Very crazy.
And you brought up Houston releasing 2 offensive linemen because they want to keep the quarterback. Why? Because you need an offensive line to protect your freaking quarterback.
Yeah, as I've been preaching on the show from the beginning.
Yeah,
But-
look, the story out of Houston is they want to keep Deshaun Watson. They're not even taking phone calls about him. It's stalling the QB trade market because Deshaun Watson is the class of what's out there because he's young, he's dynamic, he's a Patrick Mahomes molded quarterback. And you got teams leaving voicemails.
Yep.
For
Yeah.
trade offers.
And
Because
I
the
think-
Texans are just not listening to it. I can just imagine Bill Belichick making a phone call, leaving a message to Nick Caserio, who used to be in the Patriots front office, going, hey, remember where you came from? Don't give them to me, I'll give you Gilmore.
And I guarantee you Watson has something to do with those 2 guys being dropped. Maybe he had problems with them during the season. Maybe they weren't protected. I forget their names, and I haven't watched them or remember watching them much during this past season. But I bet those 2 guys they let go were a problem for Watson this year. And he's a running quarterback, but he probably had to run for his life with the way these 2 were playing on the line.
Right.
Instead of running like a running quarterback should do, hey, let me fake a pass and take off. But he's like, oh, shit, now I got to run for my life and immediately get out of the hole.
Yeah,
And
the
receivers
pocket
gotta
collapsed
block
around him too
downfield.
fast than any other quarterback in the league.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Before we get to our guest at the bottom of the hour, let's go over quickly to the other big NFL news. And it's one that we've been talking about on this show, I think, for the last couple of weeks.
Did you
Yes.
sign with the team finally, John?
Yes, he did.
No, you.
Oh, no. No, very funny. Very funny. No, it was announced a couple
Monday.
days Monday. And it was actually announced through JJ Watt.
Correct. He
And
was the source of the announcement.
Which is he signed a 2-year deal with the Arizona Cardinals.
So, John, if you want, I'll give it a real quick. It's a 2-year deal. It's a $31 million deal with $23 million guaranteed.
That's pretty much most of the contract.
Big money, big money, big money, big money. Yep.
Oh, that's a
And
nice
actually,
2-year
to
deal.
be honest with you, a 2-year contract at $31 million is low.
Yeah.
Very low because Tom Brady got paid more money than more money on a 2-year deal.
So that basically turned and told me he didn't go to that team just for the money.
Nope.
He wants to play.
He wants to play with his former.
But here's the kicker. Who did Arizona pick up during the season?
DeAndre Hopkins.
Bingo.
He wants to go
Because
with the Houston team.
JJ Watt on his own Instagram turns says, let's finish what we started.
Yeah, absolutely. But here's the thing also. Look at the defensive linemen now that are in the NFC West. JJ Watt. Aaron Donald. You have Nick Bosa.
Yep.
Those are just 3 people I named right
And
there.
JJ Watt is going to be playing with Chandler Jones.
Exactly. All I'm saying now, maybe now I understand why Russell Wilson wants to get the hell out of the NFC West.
Yep.
But Hijacker, you said we have a call from Discord?
Yeah, but first I'm going to read a comment and then we'll go to the call. John from South Jersey, our last caller, he says he has a comment. The daughter of the guy who wore 99 has been a retired member of the Cardinals, has allowed Watt to wear the number.
Correct. I
Correct.
did see
Okay.
that.
And then we do also have a call with a comment. Mark's from New Mexico. Go ahead and unmute yourself and come on in on our Nation Sports Show and ask your comment, buddy.
Evening, gentlemen.
Good
What's
evening,
up, brother?
Marks.
Okay, this was a good signing for Arizona for getting JJ Watt, but him signing with the Cardinals points me to one thing that this is his last run in the NFL if he's going to play for the Cardinals.
Possibly. That's a good observation. It's possible.
Yeah, and John, I agree with you. Russell Wilson wants to get the heck out of the NFC West, and all those teams that have the pass rushers. Whew, I would, if I was Russell Wilson, yeah, I'd get out of there as well. Thanks for the call, guys.
Thank you, Marks.
All right, thanks, Mark.
But to me, I think with Watt, I think the big thing we also have to look at is, yeah, I mean, could this be his last run? Possibly. But you could have said that also for half the other players in the NFL who are around his age. But Carl, we have a comment from the old YouTube.
Yeah, and it falls under what Hijacker was saying that Houston released. So at good old Ezra says they released running back Duke Johnson and offensive line Nick Martin on Friday and Josh McCown on Tuesday.
He's still in the league?
I know.
Damn, I remember when he was in Oakland, but okay, never mind.
I think I said the same thing about Vinny Testaverde years ago.
I know.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute, he's still playing?
Yeah, when they put with the Packers, I'm like, what? He's still playing in the league? What? What is going on here?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
the two you were thinking of was Duke Johnson and Nick Martin.
Okay, the offensive linemen, right?
Yep. Offensive
Gotcha.
and the running back.
Gotcha. Okay.
I just think, to me, like I said before, and he also supposedly met Kyle Murray a while back when Murray was still in high school, and basically gave him the seal of approval.
Oh, you mean the former should have been center fielder for the Oakland A's?
Yeah,
It's all good. More power to him, man. It's good. Whatever makes you happy, go with what makes you happy. Just give us the $5 million back. We need it.
oh yeah, yeah. But to me, it's just, I mean, Arizona. We're also forgetting here. Arizona also had a very good defense last year.
Mm-hmm.
They were ranked, I think, in the top 5. If
I'm not mistaken, yeah.
top 5,
Yeah,
or I
let
think
me-
they were the top defense.
Statman's on it.
Of course he is.
Well,
I
my
don't
thought
have to
is,
say it.
my thought is this: with J.J. Watt, as much of a dangerous player he was in Houston, do you guys think at his age? I'm not saying he's over the hill just yet, but what is he? 31.
Something like
Yeah, that
that.
sounds about right.
How many years does he have left, and especially transitioning to a new team in another division? Now he's in the NFC.
But we're also forgetting one other thing. He's also been injury prone.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. How many years is left in the tank?
Even the years that you guys were just saying, like in 2019 and what was it, 2017, he had 2 great seasons that off the top of my head, and he was injury prone during those 2 seasons.
Yeah.
All right, guys, our guest has arrived. Carl,
All right.
since you got her, I will let you do the introductions.
So, folks, ladies and gentlemen, our guest for tonight is the executive producer of Fight Nation on Sirius XM, and it is the one, the only Mother Marissa.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, everybody. How you guys doing?
Good. How you doing?
Great.
Doing all right.
Good. Working 7:30 Eastern and still working, but breaking up the day with something fun.
Have you had to yell at Dave today?
Oh, well.
That's a yes.
We did talk about the show a little bit today, so I had some notes for him, but usually it's all positive. Dave and I have a very good
Yeah, except for the other day.
we have a great relationship. So even if I have to give him feedback that he might not love, he's a great host to work with, and he's always open to learning and doing things a different way and hearing somebody else's feedback. Like, it's so important because you have some talent you work with and they think they know everything, and that's just not the way that you succeed in this business. There's always something to learn from somebody else who's listening with a different set of ears and in a different way. And Dave is such a great host when it comes to that sort of thing.
Yes, he is.
Oh, he definitely is.
And I gotta say, you got in one of the best audio mixers you guys have with Ed Robinson. He's a blast to listen to on the show.
I'm so glad. I was hoping, I always bringing in a new producer is a really big deal for the show. And I was hopeful that everyone would really like Ed, but you never know how it's going to go. And so far, it's just been great. He's kind of acclimated to how we do things. You know, he was familiar with the show before he joined our team, but once you're actually producing Busted Open, you realize that it is a pretty much never-ending job. So he's done a really great job riding to the occasion, and he's added so many great sound elements. It's awesome.
Well, also, too, he adds to the show with the way he picks on the guys and Gabby. So it's the chemistry is there, is so perfect. You can't ask for anything better.
Yeah, and he's got a different type of personality too. You know, he's very unique in himself as an individual. You know, he's not like a carbon copy of somebody else. Yes. And a good show has lots of different types of personalities. Like I always say, Bully Tom, I can't tell you who I like more out of Bully, Tommy, and Mark, because they all bring very different things to the show. You know, every show that I listen to, it depends on the day and what we're talking about and who would be best covering certain topics, but they all bring something special too.
Well, at least you don't have to worry about hiding the pretzel rods with Tommy. You're not in studio.
We've saved a lot on pretzel budget, not being at Sirius XM almost a year now. So, but I'm sure Tommy gets his own pretzels now.
Yeah. But then again, you do have Bully keeping Dave in check, though, right?
Bully keeps Dave in check, and then Dave keeps Bully in check. You know, at the end of the day, you know, what's on air is on air. Behind the scenes, though, I mean, Dave's going to call the shots before Bully's going to. So, but Bully understands that, I think.
This is great. It's great to have you on again. Hey, this is awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, I always love joining you guys. I'm glad to see you guys you're expanding. You have spin-off shows. It's your 1 month anniversary. Happy anniversary. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
it's just great to see people who just take it on their own. I tell everyone, I'm like, if you put the time in, anyone can learn to do what we do. It's gotta be a passion project, you know?
Exactly.
Labor of love.
You know what it is? Not that many people talk about the sports. Yeah, you have the sports ones, but it's basically, okay, you got baseball, you got football, you got basketball, but nobody goes over everything in one show. And that's what we're trying to do here.
Yeah.
We're fans of the sports talking about our love for everything.
I think it's awesome. Power to you guys.
So, Mother Marissa, the reason we asked you to come on is this weekend is a huge, huge pay-per-view for UFC. You have UFC 259. If you could, would you please go over the top 3 on the main card that everybody's looking at with the championships?
Sure. So yeah, this is definitely the biggest UFC pay-per-view in a while. I haven't seen 3 title fights on one card. Maybe since early last year, pre-pandemic. They've really put a lot of effort into making this as stacked as humanly possible. You got 3. I mean, the whole card is good. Like the prelims are good. You got Dominic Cruz on the prelims and the main event there. So there's free content and pay-per-view content that are both worthwhile. But on the main card, you got just 3 great fights back to back to back. The first title fight of the night will be Peter Yan versus Aljamain Sterling. Both fantastic fighters. Yan being the defending champion. He beat Jose Aldo for that title. It was a relinquished title from Henry Cejudo. He took over that belt, and he's had he's really just starting out his run, but he's definitely looked impressive and looks like someone who's going to be tough to beat. But on the other hand, you have someone like Aljamain Sterling, who's 19-3 in the UFC, and anytime he's gotten close to a title shot, the fight he needed to win to kind of secure the deal, he's lost. So when it really counted, he didn't come through. So this is actually his first title shot in his career. And I think he's more ready than ever. So I think you're going to see a very competitive fight. I mean, if you look at the odds, I don't know, you guys gamblers here, do we talk betting odds at all? No bettors.
We could talk about it.
None of you have.
At the roulette table, but
the only way you could. No
I
bettors.
barely understand money lines as is.
I am not a bettor.
The last time I did that, I lost some money.
Well, you gotta be willing to lose a little money, but you can throw a few bucks on something, and you never know. But if you look on DraftKings, just in the last hour, they were even in terms of the betting odds, both at -115. So when I say -115, that means you would have to bet $115 to win $100.
Yep.
So that's how the minus works. If someone's an underdog, if they were a +115, then you would have to bet $100 to win 115. So that's how the odds kind of work.
Yep, that makes sense.
And that'll kind of inform how your combat sports. I think odds are really important to kind of understanding how the book is seeing it, because that's pretty accurate. I mean, you see more upsets in MMA than most sports, just because
Right.
any given Sunday, you know, someone can come in and get caught.
Like McGregor getting knocked out last 2 months ago by Dustin.
Yeah, I mean, I had money on Dustin Poirier for that fight because
Poirier knocked his ass out. I was like, damn, son.
Yeah, they were editing
Yeah.
Nate Robinson in the sleeping photos together on a couch with a couple of dogs from what I've seen.
so bad. I know. And I it's funny because I put money on Poirier because he was such a big underdog. And I'm like, what are people seeing? Like, sometimes what happens is that celebrity factor does actually play a big role. And someone like Conor McGregor, who is a fantastic fighter, but hasn't fought consistently, like Dustin Poirier, who's always fighting, who's so well-rounded, so experienced, that you'll see the odds, all the money comes in on Conor, and you just leave this big underdog. They're like, okay, well, even if he loses, if I throw $10 on this, I could still win like 30.
Yeah,
you're gonna try.
Yeah, and it's like the gamblers are coming in at the last minute. Okay, they're betting on McGregor. Poirier, here you go, buddy. We'll throw some money your way. Then, bam, there it was. McGregor.
Exactly. Like, wherever the money comes in on, that's how the odds are pretty much set. So if people are really confident in someone like Conor McGregor, or when Ronda Rousey was active, Ronda Rousey, when she lost to Holly Holm, she was like a minus 1,100 favorite that night.
I still remember that fight because she got taken to school by Holly. I mean, man, just the kickboxing, the kicks, the punches. She would hide the kicks with the punches, and she was making Rousey chase her around the octagon. And you know, that brings me to my point with McGregor. Do you think McGregor took Poirier lightly? Because I think he did.
I don't think that, because from what I know about Conor McGregor, even though he's got a big personality and he always talked a lot of smack, he's still a very self-aware fighter. Where Ronda Rousey wasn't as much. You know, she was so dominant and so massive that I think when she lost, the rug was pulled out from underneath her, and she didn't know how to react to it. And then another woman on this card, Amanda Nunes, then beat her in her second loss.
Yep.
So I think with Conor, there's no way a guy like Dustin Poirier, who's been in this game for so long, would be taken lightly by anybody, I don't think. And Conor, if you see his post-interview, and the fact that Conor McGregor stayed in the octagon for a post-fight interview after losing, a lot about Conor McGregor as a fighter too. He's great in defeat. He always has been. And that's why he's easy to keep following. Whereas Ronda, both times she lost out of the octagon, didn't talk to anybody. She still doesn't talk to MMA media. Years later, she just doesn't like to talk about her MMA career. But no, I think Conor's he realized that if you're going to be at the highest level in the lightweight division, which is the toughest division, or wherever you're going to fight, you got to be active, because you're going to be at a disadvantage every single time. Once a year fighting is not going to be enough. Against a guy like Dustin Poirier.
And you bring up Amanda's fight with Megan. Man, that fight looks like it's gonna be just to knock him out, drag him up. Cat fight.
Yeah, for Megan.
Megan's gonna get her ass whooped, I think, by Amanda.
Yes, I think so. I think it's always one of those tough things. When you have a really dominant champion, you always feel like they're due to lose in some dramatic fashion at some point. Like, it's gotta run out, right? And who knows? Maybe this will be that fight. I mean, Nunes is at a minus 1,000 currently.
So
Megan's a
Marissa,
plus 650.
Well, what you were just saying about Amanda and Megan, I pulled it up here on my phone. It's Amanda's at a minus 1,250.
Well, on DraftKings, that's what I'm going off of. BS.
Okay.
Lots of different odds.
And then Megan's up 750. I was like, oof.
Yeah, those are not good odds if you are the person challenging for the title. I mean, look, the interesting thing about this fight is you have Amanda Nunes, who is a double champion. She holds the title in both the bantamweight division as well as featherweight. Megan is a natural featherweight, which is 145. Not a ton of competition at that weight class currently in women's mixed martial arts. Megan, there was so many high hopes for her coming over to the UFC from Invicta, which is an all-women's promotion. Right. And she's done all right, but she's 3-2 in the UFC, and she's had some good competition, but no one at the caliber and the well-roundedness of Amanda Nunes. So I think, you cannot bet against Amanda Nunes on this one. And back to just quickly, because I didn't say Jan Sterling, just to give you my pick for that. I wouldn't bet this fight. If you're a bettor, I wouldn't. I think it's I don't know which way it's going to go. I think Jan's going to try to strike. I think Sterling's going to try to take him down.
Okay.
We'll see who's more successful within the first few minutes of the fight. But either way, I'm going to give the edge to my boy, Aljamain Sterling, New Yorker. I think it's his time. I think he can get it done. I think he's in the prime of his career, and it's his chance. And then Amanda Nunes, let's just lay up on that one. And then the main event.
I'm sorry. Do you see
No,
any
go ahead,
upsets
please.
on this card? Do you see any upsets or any creepers on this card? As I'm looking at it, it looks kind of like a nice little card and some preliminary card and the early preliminary card. But do you see any creepers up there?
Quickly pull it up on my phone real quick. There's always going to be an upset on the card. I can promise you that.
Oh, yes.
There's going to be some sort of upset. I was telling you guys earlier, I have been so wrapped up with Busted Open that outside of the title fights, I swear, like every time I look at this card, I'm like, oh wait, they're on this card. They're on this card. It's just such a stacked
Right. So
card. I haven't even had a chance to really kind of process it all. Let me see if there's a good underdog here that I can throw out there. The one fight I'm really excited for, and I don't see him on here in the bets, is Dominic Cruz versus Casey Kenny. Actually, I like that as an underdog. Dominic Cruz was a dominant champion, went through so many injuries, had to get both surgeries on both of his knees. Ooh. He does a lot of commentary now. He's a little older now. I'm sure he's a little slower now, but he's just someone that I feel like if he puts in the right time, could surprise you and come back because he's just that good. So he's a slight underdog against Casey Kenny at plus 110. I'd throw some money on Dominic Cruz. So if you're looking for a little dog, I would take him.
Down there in the bantamweight, huh?
Yes. The little guys put on the best fights sometimes.
This is true.
And then Mother Marissa, I guess the main one is the light heavyweight title, champion versus champion.
Champion versus champion. Huge career-making fight for Israel Adesanya and Jan Blachowicz. I mean, Jan Blachowicz, he won the title recently. He beat Dominic Rives, who was this streaking fighter that everyone had their eyes on. People thought he beat John Jones for the title in his prior fight. So everyone was shocked when Jan knocked out Dominic Rives in the second round. Like, I was shocked. I remember I did not expect that from Jan Blachowicz at this point in his career. So he's looking great at light heavyweight. But then you have a guy in Israel Adesanya, undefeated, definitely is being built into the face of the UFC. He's definitely taking over for whereas John Jones took over for like an Anderson Silva, I think Israel's taking over for a John Jones. And there's been a lot of heat between John Jones and Israel. And I think depending on how this fight goes, a fight between those two is really like the money fight out there. But it's not going to be an easy night. I mean, Izzy's moving up from 185 to 205. That's a 20-pound jump. His first fight at that level. The title is it's not his title on the line, it's Jan's that night. And Izzy's been saying he's going to stay underweight. So typically you weigh in on a Friday, tomorrow's weigh-ins. Both fighters would make 205 on the dot because it's a title fight, and then you put your weight back on because you replenish. In Izzy's case, he's not trying to put weight on like that because there's unhealthy weight to put on. You want to put on 20 pounds of muscle and mass, and you want to still stay light and quick. So he's going to be around what they're saying around 193 tomorrow, which is it's over 10 pounds under kind of where Jan's going to start. So Jan will be the bigger guy on fight night. But Izzy's so good and he's so versatile and he's so fun to watch. And he is the favorite in this fight, which is, I think even Jan is a good underdog just because sheer size and experience at that weight class. But I just cannot bet against Israel Adesanya. He's 31 years old and in the prime of his career. So that is where I would go.
Yeah, because I'm looking at, I printed off from the UFC website, the matchups, and there's a 20-pound difference between the two of them.
Yeah.
Well, there won't be tomorrow night. I mean, on Saturday night, there won't be because even though Izzy's the 185-pound champion, he is choosing to move up to fight at 205. So like that's where the baseline is going to be for weigh-in day. But Izzy still doesn't want to weigh in that high. He's still going to be underweight. He's not the biggest middleweight to begin with. So I think it's going to be interesting, like I said. But hey, the bigger guy does not always win. That is for sure. If there's one thing MMA taught you, size doesn't necessarily matter. There's going to be advantages there, but I mean, I've seen all shapes and sizes win titles in this sport. So I'm just excited that you guys are interested in MMA because everyone's always yelling to me about wrestling and no one ever wants to talk about MMA with me.
Well, that's
Well,
the
we
thing
actually
with the
also have
sports show.
caller.
It's every sport.
I'll talk to you about boxing too. So it's
Well,
all
yeah.
good.
We have a caller, John.
We have,
Don't get me started on
we have
boxing.
2 callers.
Actually. All right,
Yeah,
so
we have-
let's go to the so Marissa. So we take calls on our show, as you know.
Okay.
Let's go to the first caller, John.
Hijacker.
All right. Marissa, we have Joe in North Carolina. Joe, you want to go ahead and unmute yourself and come on our Nation Sports Show?
Mother Marissa, how are you doing today, ma'am?
Hi, Joe. How are you?
First, let me thank you and apologize to you for any pain and suffering that our ventures may have caused you in your off time that doesn't relate to what's dealing with your channel.
No need to apologize at all. I love what you guys do. There's just always there's always some fine print that we just have to be careful of, is all. But no, I think it's great what you guys are doing. You know that.
Marissa, I'm glad Hijacker was talking about boxing because we've talked to the commission, we've talked to Jerry Cooney regarding the state of boxing on the Nation show. And, Jerry is very optimistic that boxing is going to start coming back towards a big way. And, Randy is also a little bit pessimistic towards it. What is your viewpoint right now on the state of professional boxing? Because did I say wrestling or did I say boxing?
Boxing,
You
you're
said
good.
boxing.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah. Even on our shows, we have to realize which one we can't talk
Yeah,
about.
believe me, it's hard for me to keep
uppercut.
all 3 sports straight as it is. Believe me. I'm definitely more in the pessimistic world in boxing when it comes to boxing. I just every time you think that boxing is going to have like a great resurgence, and look, boxing is the kind of sport that they could put on a massive fight any day of the week, right? We've watched in the last few years, every year there's at least, Wilder Fury was a little over a year ago. It wasn't that long ago that was a huge, massive pay-per-view for the boxing world. So when they want to do it, they can still do it because it's the kind of sport that casuals will come back to. It's a classic sport. It's not like MMA. MMA, it's like a learned, you got to like learn to love it, where boxing is just like people grew up with it. But we're talking on Saturday, Canelo Alvarez, arguably the biggest name in the sport, or at least one of the biggest names in the sport, fought a guy that no one knew. And he was I know I keep talking about odds, but he was a minus 4,000 favorite.
Holy
Wow.
$4,000 I'd have to bet to win 100. Okay. So what is the state of boxing? The fact that your biggest names are fighting tomato cans. Like, that's the state of boxing because there's so much power. And I understand that that's part of the contracts and their structure is very different and promoters are very involved and the fighters, hey, they make more money in boxing. That's for sure. But they don't fight anybody because a loss ruins your career basically. And so they don't want to put any risk into it. And that's why this UFC card on Saturday, this is what the difference is between MMA and boxing, because this card will have evenly matched fights outside of the Amanda Nunes, Megan Anderson one, even though she is the number one contender, which is sad.
That was going to be one of my questions to you.
Yeah, but you see the best fight the best a lot of the time. Not every single time, but a lot of the time. And that's why Conor McGregor comes back. He could be fighting Joe Blow, nobody cares about, minus 4,000 favorite Conor McGregor, but he fought Dustin Poirier, who a lot of us thought were going to beat him. So I give him credit for even just being like, you know what, I want to fight the best. That's it. So I don't know what's going to happen with boxing, but I root for it all the time. I want to see it for our channel, for just the fan base. It can be great. It's just you have evenly matched fights.
Oh, well, Marissa, I'll tell you, 259 is shaping up to be a card that kind of reminds me back when Brock Lesnar was actually in the UFC, one of those cards. And I'm talking, and you might be surprised to hear this because of how much we talk about wrestling and all that. I'm a UFC fan going all the way back to the Forrest Griffin days. Okay, so that's how old school I am with that one. Forrest was my guy. And this card is actually giving me a little bit of a vibe on that. But I did want to say one thing about boxing. And it kind of actually does go back a little bit to wrestling because Nick Aldis was on Busted Open today. he saw the amount of money that was generated by the Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. fight. And you can ask all the hosts that are on here. We were all watching it together. We stayed up till 2:00 in the morning. In fact, I think you actually you gave me a little nudge on that one about us watching boxing.
And that's what you watch. That fight is the one you choose. Hijacker, right? Come on.
No. Hold on. I'm gonna.
I know. I'm just busting you.
No.
I watched it too. Believe me.
Yeah, and it's because of the nostalgia and the reminiscence right now. There is no name in boxing right now that is larger than life the way that Mike Tyson was. And, when we all watched that Mike Tyson fight, we were all taken back 20, 30 years ago when, Welcome to the Terradome was starting to rain down over there at the old Trump Plaza. We all reminisced about that, and we all had a good time about that. And that's what boxing needs to have. It needs to have that superstar. And Deontay Wilder, I wish he could do that. Unfortunately, there needs to be that superstar, and there's not one right now.
And I think the only way you're going to really, there's individual stars in the sport, but they very rarely fight other stars in the sport. And if you can't find that matchup, when you're calling up names that my own hosts are like, who's that guy? Or you know what I mean? Like, I have to do some research on that guy. Like, that's craziness. It just shouldn't be. But we might see Fury Joshua in the future. They keep talking about Fury Joshua. That would be a massive fight. Because the pandemic did not help boxing's momentum whatsoever.
Yeah. Hey, Mother Marissa, thank you again. And by the way, the Nation Show is celebrating 1 year next Saturday. So thank you so much for everything that you've allowed us to, go ahead and do. All of us have had fun doing this. I mean, we've got 2 shows now just based off of this daggone thing. So thank you so much for all the support that y'all have given us over this past year.
And back at you. I mean, so much support from the nation all the time. And yeah, we're coming on a year from when, we were not live and everyone freaked out. I know that one time we didn't go live and the whole world ended. So it's pretty crazy, but congratulations to all you guys.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. So we got one more caller from Discord. John from South Jersey. Go ahead and unmute yourself. You're on with the Our Nation Sports Show, buddy. What's up?
I had to hit the right key. Marissa, thank you for joining us. I am one of those ones that say the only reason I still have Sirius XM is for Busted Open is not a lie. I'm going on 30-year MMA fan. So if you can't find anybody to speak MMA with, hit me up. I will gladly talk hours of MMA with you anytime of the day or night. I just wanted to go over a couple quick things on the main card that you guys were discussing. I am not betting one single dime on any of these fights just because the money lines and odds are so crazy. I'm just going with my picks and that's it. And this is the first one I have not bet on probably in about a dozen or so main cards or pay-per-views. Basically, I think at the end of the night, everyone is still. I don't know why. I don't know why they have Megan in there against the Lioness. You are literally throwing the lamb to the Lioness. Yes, Megan is good. Is Megan Lioness level? No. I think this is more of a statement fight for Megan to see if she's going to stick around in the UFC more than it's a title defense for Nunes.
Well, you know what, too? I think the tough thing is with that fight, or just that division, they built the women's featherweight division kind of for Cyborg to come over and be able to finally fight in the UFC. Now she's no longer with UFC. Yes. Amanda Nunes is dominating both bantamweight and featherweight, and they don't have really a lot of challengers at featherweight right now. So Megan is actually like one of the more like correct choices, sadly. And that's what sucks about it. It's just, and I wouldn't bet it either because if Nunes loses, you're getting such shitty odds. It's like there's no point of even trying.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Though the divisions, there's really nobody at Nunes' level right now in either division. And I hope they do. I really like Megan. I've liked her since Invicta in her early fights. She just has this. She's just one of those long, lean body types that can keep you away, but she does have excellent ground game in wrestling. Why is Dominic Cruz?
That's the bad part. That's the hard part for Megan.
That's DNA. That's not training. That's just DNA. Yeah. Why is Dominic Cruz not on the main card? Come on, you put him on the prelim. Is ESPN? Did they just put him on the prelims to get people to watch the prelims? It's Dominic Cruz.
That's exactly why they're doing it, though. You know what? In their mind, it's more beneficial to have him main eventing on ESPN on the prelims than to have him kicking off a pay-per-view that people are paying for. I hear you. I get it. I think at the point in his career, unfortunately, that's kind of a good spot for him. And I hope to see him get a W. It's gonna be tough. And so you're picking Jan over Izzy?
I know. Izzy.
No, I'm not saying that that's super wrong, but you said you don't want to bet. I mean, Jan's a pretty decent underdog. So if you do feel somewhat confident, I throw some money on him.
Yes, I feel confident in him because just like any past quote unquote dominant champion, somebody always somewhere along the line figures out the code and beats them. We have seen it time and time again. Chuck Liddell, George St. Pierre, Silva, all these guys, Ronda Rousey. Somewhere along the line, somebody figured out the code and beat him, and I think that Jan can do it. I'm not betting it, but that's just what I'm going with. And I have a sleeper for you if you want to take a quick look at it. It's on the preliminary card. I have a quick sleeper if you want to look at it. Oh, I gotta get it. Wait. I'm sorry, I hit the wrong button. It's the Souza versus Renata. It's a women's strawweight. Both are fairly new to the UFC. But again, as you were saying before, there's not a lot of, I think it's more of they're trying to figure out where they're at more than, it could lead to something, whoever the winner is. It kind of gives a little bit of a buzz to the strawweight to see who's going to, move up or down in the rankings on that. Both Brazilians, so you can kind of figure where that's going to go, but they're both very evenly matched. And I think that could be definitely a sleeper fight of the night. And I'm very interested to see whoever comes out on the winner, where they wind up stacking up in the strawweight, which you really haven't heard anything from. And
another division with another dominant champion, in Valentina Shevchenko. So it's no, that's flyweight. I'm sorry. But the women's divisions, the lighter weight classes at least have a little bit more, have just a lot more contenders. I think a lot more people who can grow, where 135 and 145, it's just not been what we want it to be. And I just don't know when Amanda Nunes loses at this point. I don't see anybody who can beat her right now.
I don't see anyone either coming up against her with. But then again, you never know. Somebody could figure out the code.
Exactly.
I don't think it's Megan. I don't think it's Megan though. Anyway, thank you, Marissa, for taking the time and letting me spout off about MMA. My second most favorite combat sport. Wrestling, of course, being number one. And boxing being a distant third still. And my comment on boxing, just to piggyback what you and Joe were talking about, you're not going to have anything in boxing until you get these friggin' promoters the hell out of the sport.
Yeah.
Too many belts, too many titles, too many organizations, too many people trying to get a hand in somebody's pocket.
Yep.
And the biggest handful of money they can get out of it. And you won't have anything decent in boxing other than maybe 1 or 2 marquee fights a year until these promoters and these organizations get together and say, okay, look, we can all make a little bit of money, or we all can make a lot of money. What way do you want to go?
We've been hoping that was gonna happen for many years, for years now. It just doesn't seem like it's gonna happen. But I do hope that with all this combat sports that you like, that you love Busted Open. But I hope you listen to the other Fight Nation programming, because we do have, I think this is the best in all three sports.
I listen to Jimmy Smith has been one of my MMA go-to guys. I have what I call my big three. That's Luke Thomas, who unfortunately is no longer with the channel, but Luke Thomas,
we love him anyway.
Ryan McKinnell and Jimmy Smith. Those are my three MMA guys I go to and listen to. Of all the MMA people I can listen to, those are the three I listen to, because they usually give me A, the information I want, B, they don't give me a lot of BS with it. Not a lot of hype. They kind of tell it like it is, and that's why.
Well, do me a favor. We just signed Dean Thomas. He just had his third show today. He's hosting with RJ Clifford on Thursday nights on MMA Tonight on Fight Nation.
I saw that.
Check it out on demand, because I'm telling you, Dean will take this card and he's going to break it down in only the way that a guy at his caliber and at his coaching level can do. And he's just been such a breath of fresh air on the channel, and I'm like obsessed with Dean Thomas. So check him out. I think you'll like it a lot.
Okay. Well, if he's paired up with RJ, then yes, I'll be listening.
Yeah. Well, yes. RJ's always fun. He's a maniac.
RJ's the best.
All right. Like I said,
he is.
MMA. Anytime
See you later.
Talk MMA. Thank you, dear.
Will do.
Thank you, John. Hey,
Thank you, John.
Hey, John. Before we get to your questions, Marissa. So I have a couple of things I want to bring up to you. So Junior Dos Santos and Alistair Overeem, obviously last night, were released by the UFC. What are your thoughts on their releases?
The right timing, I think. JDS has always been one of my favorites. I mean, he made the debut on Big Fox. He was one of the first champions I really followed closely in when I first started covering MMA. Mm-hmm. And the guy has been hit so many times in so many ways, and I just don't see him getting anywhere near to where he was. And it's time for him to move on. He could probably make more money in a smaller promotion if he goes over to Bellator. Mm-hmm. And Alistair Overeem too. Alistair Overeem's had 5 resurgences. You know what I mean? Like, he's come back, and you thought he was done so many times. I think he's finally kind of done. He's been fighting forever. So, it's always tough. I'm sure it was a tough call, but they both did really well in the UFC in the careers that they did have. So I can't hate.
All right, then. John?
Actually, Carl.
Mother Marissa, real quick. I know you have to, unfortunately, head out. You have a prior engagement, which we understand, and we appreciate you coming on. But my last question for you is, hearing the state of Texas deciding to go away with the mask ban. UFC is asking for a Texas event ASAP. How do you feel about that? Knowing you're from Jersey.
Yes, I am from Jersey. I just think we're at the point, federally, we should just wear the damn masks until it's safe for us all not to wear the masks. I don't think it's not like a state line is some fortress. You know what I mean? Yeah. State lines are invisible. They're not real. It's just a government thing. So to me, I err on the side of caution at this point. We've been through it for a year. Might as well just follow through and just hopefully with the vaccine and everything else get to a better place soon enough. I get the urgency, but the UFC, they've done a phenomenal job throughout this pandemic. I was one of the first people who was I don't know how seriously they're going to take it. But everyone I've talked to, when they're on Fight Island in Abu Dhabi, I mean, they have created they've created their whole own world to be safe. And yeah, fighters get knocked off of cards all the time because of their team gets COVID or they get COVID.
Yes.
But outside of that, I mean, at least the UFC's doing the right thing, reporting it. Texas is Texas. Texas going to Texas. That's what they're gonna do. I just hope Mark Henry keeps his mask on. That's all I care about. That's the only thing I care about in Texas is Mark Henry. So,
and all my exes live in Texas.
Oh Lord. Well,
half of my family's in Texas, and I don't think I'll be taking any trips out there soon if they're going to unmask.
Yeah, I was supposed to go to Houston 3 times now for a comedy festival. It's gotten rescheduled now for the 4th time. So now I'm supposed to be going to Houston in November. So hopefully by November things are more normal. But until then, this comedy festival keeps getting canceled. So
I don't know if we'll ever see what normal is per se that we're used to. This is a whole new world.
I hope, I think we've been through this we haven't been through this specific thing before, but we've been through many things in the history of not only our country, but the world. You always find a way back. Maybe it won't be exactly the same, but it'll be pretty damn close. And we just got to be a little bit more patient. It's tough, but you got to do what you got to do.
Mother Marissa, I know you have to unfortunately leave us. And we appreciate you coming on here so much. Thank you so much. How can our listeners follow you on social media?
Sure. Well, thank you for having me again. I had a great time, guys. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the Marissa Rives, Rives. And as always, follow everything we do on Fight Nation on Instagram at SiriusXM Fight Nation, Busted Open at Busted Open Radio, boxing at SiriusXM Boxing, and MMA at MMA on SiriusXM. See, guys, I have 3 sports, 4 social media platforms. There's a lot going on Fight Nation at all times, and a lot to come for Busted Open. So, I hear WrestleMania is around the corner, so I guess we're gonna have to make some plans. So some things are in progress.
Well, tell Dave when you see him next time, Hijacker's gonna crack open a couple of daddy sodas for him this weekend.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. So again, Mother Marissa, thank you so much, and hope to have you back on our show.
Absolutely.
And I will definitely be in touch with you.
All right, Carl. Thank you guys all so much. Have a good rest of the show.
Thank you, Mother Marissa.
You too. Thank you.
Enjoy the fights.
Definitely.
Definitely will.
Guys, that was the best interview we've had in a while since we've started our interviews.
Yeah.
Even before me?
Well, whoa. Come on. Nobody beats you.
This was good, man. She's great insight on no matter wrestling, boxing, UFC. Great insight there. Good guy. Good call on getting that one on here tonight, guys.
Yes. Well, and then she technically hit on the boxing from this past weekend that Hijacker we were going to have you do. She kind of hit on it a little bit.
That's cool. I got the future, brother. I got the future. So it's all good to me.
Yup.
Before we get to the news roundup and we get to baseball, Carl, do you want to tell our listeners who we have for our Discord exclusive tomorrow?
So tomorrow at 2:00 on Discord, our Discord exclusive, we have
Eastern
the one.
Standard Time. Don't forget Eastern Standard Time.
Eastern Standard Time.
There you go.
Sorry, guys.
11 a.m. Pacific.
We have the one, the only Scott Stanford. So if you have questions for him, please have them. Now, remember one thing. If you have questions regarding his time with the WWE, reserve that for the Nation Show when we are able to get him on the Nation Show.
Just one other quick thing to add to that. If you are not on Discord and you still want to ask him a question, you can tweet it to us.
Correct.
We'll take questions from Twitter as well. But guys, let me actually phrase that. Carl, let's get to the news roundup before we get to baseball.
So we have a few big things going on here. I'm just going to go over the top headlines. I'm not going to get into the other sports because we want to really get into the main focus that we're here for with the AL West. So real quick off the top, in college football, well, college itself, LSU had an inquiry from 2013 involving the coach Les Miles, and it was in regards to sexual contact with a minor, and it kind of found that he did have it. So they're doing a huge investigation in that one. I'm leaving that one alone.
Yeah, let's move on.
The Broncos GM says they want Von Miller back in 2021. However, one little snag. He's involved in a legal dispute that they can't technically do anything until that dispute is over, and they're not saying what that legal dispute is. For football, our Steelers fans, the biggest chokers last year. Roethlisberger's re-signed with the team. I believe that's a 2-year contract.
Yes, 2-year contract.
All right.
Is that the same guy that was crying at the end of the game on the sideline?
Yeah.
Steve.
Yes.
And as you heard before when we were talking about with JJ Watt, I brought up the Lions turn around and told their cornerback, not quarterback, cornerback.
Yes, Carl, we can hear.
True Fun, that he was being released. And that's basically the majority of the main stuff that I'm going to go over with tonight, since we have other ones.
Yep.
Well, guys, last week we started it with the NLS. Actually, before we get to that, there are some other baseball stories I want to grab before we get to the ALS.
So if you want baseball, then since we're going into baseball, we could touch on the headlines from that then. Kevin and I are a little pissed off with this one. Just a little bit.
I'm probably more like teeny bit.
What happened, Carl? What happened, Statman? What's going on?
Carl, Statman, what happened?
Our center fielder,
okay, that's going to make
Jackie
me
Bradley
a little more.
Jr. has signed a 2-year, $24 million with the Brewers.
Kind of sounds familiar what happened to us last month out here in Oakland, but I digress.
Yeah.
Correct. Atlanta Braves Max Fried was scratched from tomorrow's start due to potential COVID-19 exposure.
Oh boy.
So this is still rampant, guys. No matter what you look at, COVID-19 is still there. So what the state of Texas just did was the stupidest move in the world.
Don't do it. Back out of it. Do not do it. We're going to be
If you're
wearing
going
masks
anywhere,
for the next
wear
2
your
years.
masks.
We're wearing them for the next 2 years. I don't see us ending by the end of 22.
I would say by the middle of 22, yes, maybe. You're going to have 2 years of wearing this mask.
That's
Even
okay.
if everybody's got the vaccine.
Yeah. I am one of those that is like, you know what? I want to keep wearing a mask because y'all can't see when I'm mouthing off to you with the mask on. I could be swearing at you.
Hijackers, Steven, and you, Kevin, and I have one problem wearing the masks. We sweat under the mask because of the hair.
Oh, well, I also, the glasses
the
up
glasses
here, Carl,
too.
you probably get the same thing. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, I can't see. Okay, hang on. I got to do one of these. Oh, now I can see, but then I can't see it again.
Or I get a big whiff of my beard oil and I'm breathing vanilla rum all day and it starts irritating my nose because it's enclosed in like this for 10 hours of the day.
Exactly.
Why I stopped using beard oil.
So here's another big issue. And this came out a while ago, but it's now really starting to show its face. And Toronto Blue Jays general manager was not aware of the allegations against Mickey Callaway. He was saying he never knew anything was going on. I'm sorry, if you're in that position, you have to know something. Even if it's a little bit.
Just like out there at Penn State with Joe
Paterno.
Oh, Jesus.
20 years ago, man. Sandusky?
Yes, Jerry Sandusky.
Yes. It's the same situation. When it's shit like this, dude, we don't stand for it, dude. Say something, get the shit taken care of, and let's go. Don't play around with people's lives like this.
It's not like it's in the 50s and 60s where people keep their mouths quiet. Open your mouths, no matter what. Real quick, the Arizona Diamondbacks, Tim LaCastro, tested positive for COVID-19. Also, Major League Baseball is to have the annual Lou Gehrig Day on June 2nd. Now, here's the biggest one that is really, really important to understand, guys. Okay? The new study that's out there is showing less than 1% of pro athletes infected by the COVID-19 also developed inflammation of the heart disease, inflammatory heart disease. Less than 1%. So that's a big number just by itself, saying, okay, less than 1%. So what are you looking at? Maybe 50 people out of 100 or whatever. So, hijacker, take it away, bud.
Well,
Your time.
Before we get to the ALS,
Uh-oh.
well, it's sort of quasi our transition to the ALS. I just have to pull up the article. Just give me 1 second here. Very funny.
2.
Albert Pujols made some news.
Yes, they did.
It came out that supposedly a former Major League Baseball executive stated that Albert Pujols has been lying about his age. Now, what happened was David Sampson, who was the Marlins president from 2002 till 2017, made the allegation during a recent appearance on the Dan Le Batard show.
Mm-hmm.
Sampson was reflecting on the 2012 offseason when Pujols was a free agent and the Marlins were said to be one of the teams in the sweepstakes, right, for the first baseman. Pujols eventually signed a 10-year, $240 million deal with the Angels. Right now, it's the 14th largest contract in Major League Baseball history. Pujols is set to make $30 million this year. It's believed to be his last one, but he hasn't decided. It hasn't, even though we talked about it, it was reported a couple weeks ago that this was going to be his last year. Nothing's come out official yet. But supposedly, basically the gist I'm getting is, from reading the article, Pujols is older than he claims to be.
I think by like 5 years or something like that.
Yeah, that's from what I heard.
Yeah, he's supposedly like 5 years older than what he's claiming.
Yeah, because I'm just looking here right now. It's listed that he's 41 years old. But as we've seen a lot of players from the Dominican Republic, because he's not the first one. In the article, they mentioned Octavio Dotel was another one.
Santiago Castilla.
That's one.
Casilla.
If you go back to the late 90s or early 2000s when Orlando, El Duque, was pitcher for the Yankees. His age was always in question.
Yeah.
So a lot of times when you get these guys who are coming from the Mexican area and all that, a lot of times they'll lie about their age. To me, I don't think it should play any bearing into Pujols, but it doesn't make him look good.
No. But also too, John, I'm going off of what you're saying there before we get into the thing, but also came out yesterday that Aaron Boone, the manager of the Yankees, was taking a personal leave of absence for medical.
Yep.
He had a pacemaker put in. He is now home recovering. He spent the night at the hospital. The Yankees are saying now that he was released and he will be home relaxing. It'll probably be a couple of weeks, maybe a month or two before he's even able to step back into the manager's position. So for those that do give our prayers, please say a prayer for him at night, for his family. Even though it's a successful surgery, there's always complications arise that can happen later. So,
and the thing also, just to kind of piggyback on the Boone thing, he's 47 years old. Most of the time when you get a pacemaker put in, you're normally mid-80s, late 70s.
Well, no, I know somebody that actually has a pacemaker put in at the age of 45.
But it's not a common thing.
No. But
More
there's
common than
complications.
65 or
There's a
older.
reason that it's going on. I think a lot of times, a lot of these health issues are misdiagnosed or they don't know about it until it actually happens. There's no way of really testing for the heart the true proper way.
Right.
And the thing is also, they were talking about it, I forgot on what show, and the Boone family has history of having heart issues.
Right.
Well, maybe that could be the main issue because if his family, if the Boone
It's
family,
hereditary.
it's hereditary. Well, then you can't fix that because that's like it's off topic, but Toto's session drummer. I don't have his name right off the top of my head, but his father died young from a heart condition when he was young, and the drummer that was on the first couple of Toto records, especially with some of their hit singles like "Hold the Line" and "Rosanna" and all those songs, and Africa. He died at the age of, I believe it was 38 from the heart condition. Oh, why did he die so early? And see, the Luke affair was like, well, he had a pre-existing heart condition that was hereditary with the family. So it's unfortunate that Aaron Boone is suffering through this, but when something is hereditary, unfortunately,
there's nothing you could do.
Exactly, there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah,
Our thoughts and prayers go out to his family, and we're thinking of him and praying for him and his family, and hopefully he has a successful recovery.
Yep.
I
As
think-
as I'm a Boston fan, anytime something like this happens, you overlook your own team and pray that they recover.
Yeah.
Well, that's the one thing they were talking about when this whole thing broke. Luis Rojas, manager of the Mets, and Alex Cora, manager of the Red Sox, two teams that are rivals to the Yankees, both sent out their let me rephrase that. Both sent out their best wishes.
Right.
Yeah. You have to. It's your rivals coming up in the game, but
your
when
brothers.
a family member goes down, no matter if you're from the past of yesterday's greats,
correct,
or the upcoming future, you have to say a prayer and hey brother, hey sister, I'm with you.
I mean, John, no offense. Look on the other side of the avenue of our shows with wrestling. The legends that have passed away, okay? You're hearing everybody up now saying their best wishes to the family, their condolences, because they paved the way for them to be in the ring now. So it basically transitions over to baseball. These guys are your leaders of the team. Yeah, you have the front row, the front office, but your managers are your front line down to the players.
Yep.
But, and the last thing I want to bring in with the whole wrestling thing, it's like Mark Henry always says, you want to give your flowers while they're alive.
Yeah.
Correct.
You know, look, he is always going to be Aaron effing Boone to me because of that 2003 Game 7. But you know what, Aaron effing Boone, I hope you get well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But guys, we did this last week. Figured, let's continue. And
send it over to him.
Hijacker, it's all yours, buddy.
Take it away.
Right, as last week, we know you guys previewed the NL West, right?
Yes.
National League.
That's right.
This week, you guys have called upon me to help you guys go ahead and give you a preview of the AL West, where I reside in the heart of the city of Oakland. And my team, as you can see, green and gold, Oakland Athletics. Been here since 1982 with Ricky Henderson, the man of steel, STEAL. The year he stole 132, the very first game I went to, he stole 3 bases in 82. So you go with it. So as we look at last year in the 60-game shortened season, I love that my team took the division, but I can't call it a full season because it was only 60 games. The A's are hot and cold. They sometimes start off real slow, or they can be hot. But last year they were doing good. They got the division. They beat Houston out for the division by 7 games. But then you end up getting knocked in 4 games, 3-1 by said team. It happens. That's baseball. That's sports in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can knock off a team 15 times out of the year, you can be 15-2 against them in the season because, divisional play, you're playing 18 games against your division opponents in baseball. But then when it comes to the playoffs, it's a different game.
Well, here,
College.
hijacker, real quick.
What's up,
I'm going to transfer it over to the football for a second there.
Go for it.
Patriots, complete season, right? They went 17-0.
Yeah.
In the regular season, they beat the Giants in the last game of the regular season. Go to the playoffs, win the 2 games, get up to the Super Bowl. Who did they lose to? But the team they beat at the end, John, I will hurt you. They lost to the Giants.
Yeah.
With the helmet catch.
Tyree.
Could have been a sack.
But how many of you thought that the Giants can beat the Patriots? They had a chance to make history to become the second NFL team in history to go undefeated in the season.
Oh.
You got knocked off. It's like, wait, how did we lose this game? It happens.
The only people who thought that the Giants would beat the Patriots are delusional Giants fans.
And it happened.
It's the same thing with the 2015-2016 Golden State Warriors, 73-9.
Yep.
One game, they beat the Bulls' record for the regular season, and what happens?
They lost.
But then we all know how the story turned out. Who'd they end up getting the next season? Yada yada yada. But hey, 5 years straight in the championships and winning 3 is not bad at all.
No.
But
Not
still, to me, that 16 finals, quickly to bounce back off of that, how do you blow it 3-1 lead?
That's the Indians too.
I know the Super Bowl was a huge choke job by the Patriots, but to me, Golden State is even bigger because you're up 3-1 against Cleveland. You had them dead to rights, and LeBron scores 41 points in the next 2 out of the 3 games to win the finals. And
so
no, but I just want to make this one quick thing. I get what you guys are saying, but there's another also example you can go to. Just happened this past year, Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
they go 11-0.
Well,
And
then
what
they
the hell
choke.
happened? And then what the hell happened?
They
And then Cleveland beat their backups to get into the playoffs in week 17. And then Cleveland beat the starters to move on to face Kansas City.
But
All because Steelers players got, I think that there was just a ton of wheels that fell off on that Steelers team this year. Ben wasn't playing right. The offense wasn't playing right. The defense wasn't playing right. Tomlin, as much as Pittsburgh fans go and say that he's a great coach, no, he's not.
No,
He
he's
doesn't
not.
have command of the locker room. He basically just goes and says, hey, go and do whatever you want, essentially. Oh, well, whatever. Oh, but I got to be tough every once in a while. Okay, yeah. We're definitely going to listen to you. As Antonio Brown is live streaming one of your post-game conferences to the locker room. Yeah, okay. You have control.
And that segues right back into Hijacker's team because, dude, I mean, they can be good and they can be downright bad. Like, But Hijacker, I'll pose this question to you: how do you think the A's are going to do this upcoming season?
I'll get to that here. I'll answer you real quick because actually I wasn't going to do them first, but you know what? Let me run down my team first because I was going to start and go down the line, and they were going to be second. But right now, the A's have 2 of the best lockdown corners with Matt Olson and Matt Chapman. Even though Chapman got hurt last year, you have 2 back-to-back Gold Glovers at the corners. My fear is losing those guys because of money and contract, but that's neither here or there right now because they're on the team and they're locked for this season unless a pending trade happens to happen in the season. I guarantee you're going to see some people jump ship, or I don't want to say jump ship, possibly traded if this team isn't doing anything by the time the trade deadline hits. Now, with Chapman returning, I see him. He's still the key guy on this team. Chapman is. Olsen is right behind. Now you have Elvis Andrus coming into the scene. We have a rookie catcher, Sean Murphy. You have Ramon Laureano out there in center. Mark Canna and left, and Steven Piscotty and right. You have a lineup, except for second base, which is going to be Tony Kemp and Jed Lowry, possibly, returning on a minor league contract. There's guys on this lineup that have a chance. Every guy, 8. Let's see, how many is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 guys besides the pitcher in the lineup. There's a chance for 7 of these 8 guys to hit 20 home runs in this lineup.
Right.
That's how deep this lineup is. Now, getting them, we got slumps. Yeah, we got guys that'll get hurt. We don't like to see it, but you know what? It's a part of the game. It happens.
Mm-hmm.
This team, in my heart, I feel they're going to win the division, and I think they're going to have another drag out with Houston, and that's going to be our biggest problem this year because I don't think Houston, even though we had issues with the banging of the trash cans, and if you guys get to watch games this year, watch for the bleachers. You'll see me out there. I'm out of my normal seats on the third base side because of this flex ticket package we got, but you will see Oscar the Grouch, Orbit the Astro in trash cans on the wall with signs. We didn't get to do it last year when this news broke from Mike Fiers, but guarantee you will see some shit out there in the outfield with the fans on the wall. Trust. But what's up, John?
No, I'm just saying I'm not going to be shocked. I won't be shocked if that happens.
We're riding. You will never hear on a typical weeknight 7,000, 8,000 fans louder. You would think we'd have 20-something thousand fans in there as loud as we get with 7,000 fans versus a team that'll have 25, 30,000 fans. We get to 25,000 fans on a Saturday and Sunday day game, but on a Monday, Tuesday night, if it's not the Yankees, if it's not Boston, if it's not Tampa Bay, possibly Toronto, or a big name team out there, you won't see more than probably 7,000 fans. And hopefully with this new stadium we're going to get, hopefully that'll change. But I have a feeling this is going to be a drag-out fight down to the end with Houston. And taking a look at Houston's lineup, they lost their big leadoff hitter in George Springer. He went to Toronto and signed that big contract out there.
Yep.
That's going to hurt them, but I don't think they're going to hiccup too much. But it's going to hurt. It's going to sting. A guy that can hit the long ball, the guy that knocks doubles. I don't know if he led, but I know he was in the top 5 or 4 for doubles last year and the year before. So we'll see. Even down the line, they say Jose Altuve. How's he going to turn out? We don't know. We didn't get to see the full story of Houston after the scandal came out of the trash cans and the recording. We'll see this year. We're going to have a full season. We're going to see what's going to happen with this team now.
I don't think to piggyback off Houston, I don't think Altuve is going to. I don't think he's ready to be the number one lead guy because Springer was a hell of a number one hitter. That guy could come in if you're down 2-1 or 1-0 and just crush one out of the ballpark. I mean, the guy is a monster hitter. I was like, okay, because I remember the Yankees games in the in the playoffs and in the years that they played, and they would be down. There would be 2 to or 0-2 or 2 balls 2 strikes, 3 balls 2 strikes, whatever, and he would just crush one out of the park. I'm like, God Almighty, George, dude. I mean, this massive player, massive great player, and Houston to me they might be decent, but I think Toronto got their man. When you get Springer at your number one overall hitter, man, that dude's going to crush it for Toronto this season.
Yeah.
And you add Springer to Bo Bichette and Vladdy Jr. I mean, that's a recipe for major success for Toronto, and all the best to him.
And you give him Marcus Semien, who came into his own the last couple of years.
Yep.
Hey, Ron Washington did wonders for that guy, man. Because when he first came out here, he was throwing the ball left, right, over the first baseman. He had led the team in errors for 2 years straight, and then Ron Washington came out and helped him, and he had his breakout season right in 2019 before COVID.
Yep.
The one thing to add though with Houston, they have the pitching, and that's what's going to be key. You got Greinke there. You should have Verlander back because didn't Verlander have Tommy John surgery?
Yeah, he may get back in there somewhere around the middle of the season. We're not sure just yet.
But with them, I think it's going to be there. If I look, the fact they lost Springer in the offseason to Toronto, it's going to be the pitching that's going to end up carrying them.
Yeah.
Because how much, I mean, yeah, we saw what Altuve can do, but then we also realized Altuve did most of that because he cheated. What's he going to do with the no
But
trash
John,
cans?
but John, I'll throw this to you as well. Okay, yes, you can have great pitching all day long, but you can't just rely on your pitching to win the games.
Nope. Your offense has to help you in
gotta
your
have that
defense.
offensive
Yeah.
player.
You got to be able to have the offense carry it too. Like all the years that you'd have a Clayton Kershaw type of player, and
Yep.
the offense just is not there for him. It's like, well, why do I go out and pitch this way? Well, because I want to go improve on a great pitcher, but it doesn't help morale wise when your offense is just, ho hum, hit the ball. Oh, I got another out. Hit the ball. Oh, another ground out.
Right.
Oh,
I mean,
Yeah,
like look at the games that the Yankees lost in the playoffs to Houston. Their pitching was good at times, but their offense, as far as their hitting, stalled in the most important games when it mattered the most. With Sanchez having his struggles,
Mm-hmm.
Judge struggling, and all these guys struggling, and Nick struggling. These guys,
Carlos Stanton
Yeah,
deciding instead of
yeah.
trying to hit to get on base to try to go and spark the offense, I'll just go and hit and shoot for the moon and up strikeout number like what 300 on the year for him.
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
And then you hear you hear the cheating after the cheating scandal happened with Houston, and
Makes you think.
and
Mhm.
I don't think the dude's ready to be the number one hitter. He's not ready.
That's
No.
what I'm saying. I think that, yes, I get what you guys are saying. The offense has to contribute.
Produce. They have to
But I
produce.
think what's going to be the key for them is the pitching. You gotta remember, I can't take what happened last year because last year was a shortened season.
Right.
And to me, once you get a healthy Verlander, we've seen what Verlander can do when he's at the top of his game.
John,
But
I
we
get it.
also got to see what's going to happen with him coming back from this major injury. I know some guys have had success and some guys have not. This
I
guy is a man of steel. And
I mean,
check
no
this
offense.
out. Verlander was in Oakland's camp before he was Verlander.
And also to piggyback off a hijacker with Verlander, John. Also, I think we're also forgetting about Verlander. He had those great seasons with Detroit,
Yeah.
Yes.
and the offense failed at the most critical times to win the games for the Tigers.
And they had one of the most dangerous lineups out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Here, I'm
Curtis
going to give you guys
Granderson.
another example, okay, of a pitcher that is on the DL right now because of the Tommy John surgery, and that's Chris Sale.
Mm.
Yep.
If
But
he
yeah.
comes back from this, whew, if he can control, he's on track to come back. They're saying hopefully by opening day, which I doubt he will.
Him
Okay.
being put on the 60-day IL, he won't be back for opening day, but hopefully, but maybe the All-Star break, we can go
By
and
the
see
All-
Chris Sale.
I give it to the All-Star break. Keep him out till that. Let
Yeah.
him do the simulated pitching down at Tampa and all that they have to do.
Mhm.
But that's a force to reckon with him.
Yeah.
He's one pitcher on Boston that is a force to deal with.
And John, I know you preach the offensive line with the quarterback thing. I feel like you're treating the pitchers like you are the quarterbacks for the NFL in football, because yes, even a great quarterback may be great, but you had to have those other key pieces around you to
Right.
win you games.
You're
Oh,
not
yeah.
going to have a complete shutout game,
No.
no hitter. I mean, that's a rarity to have a no hitter.
rarity, but
Oh,
you
yeah.
got to
Well,
have
it's
those.
a rarity to have your starting pitcher go beyond the 6th inning now because,
correct.
the stat nerd's got to come in and go, well, boss, we got to go and put him in the 5th. And then the 6th, we got to put the setup reliever to go and set up the setup reliever in the 7th.
Yeah.
Because the setup reliever in the 6th has this type of stat and this type of stat. Oh, God, shut up. Let them pitch.
Wait,
Yeah.
when did the stat people start working for WWE?
Oh, the stat nerds have
Don't
been,
even.
they've
I-
been
I'm just
in for a
saying.
while, and
But-
it's ruining the game.
Yes,
to me.
because that's the problem. I mean, look at the games in the playoffs where, Like Clayton Kershaw was pitching his ass off in that one game against the Dodgers. Take his ass out, and then
No,
they
you're thinking of Blake Snell. Blake
That's
Snell with
right.
Tampa.
That's
And
right.
you can see the
Blake
look on his
Snell.
face is being taken out, like going, "Are you effing kidding me?
Yeah,
Now you're gonna take me out? I'm pitching
his
him."
ass
I can
off.
understand if the guy's up to like 70 pitches in the first inning. Yeah,
That's
pull
right.
him.
Yeah, no, you got it.
But
You,
if
you
he's
should have
at
pulled
like
him at 40.
70 at like the
Look,
fifth
Blake-
inning, leave him in.
Yeah,
Right.
like
Blake
and
Snell's
especially if
pitching
he's
his
still
ass
got
off.
control.
You're like, what the hell
Hijacker's trying
are
to
you doing?
talk.
Hold on,
No,
hold on. One
it's all
thing I
good.
just want to add. There's another picture we could also add to this discussion. Look at Jacob DeGrom for the New York Mets.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Look at how many wins that guy could have had.
If they kept him in.
Not even that.
No,
If the
Mets
Mets-
offense actually did something.
Yeah, well,
But-
that too.
Yeah, well, we'll hold off on the Mets stuff till we get to the Mets. But my thing is this stuff.
Anyways,
The issue when it comes to pitching is unless you have somebody who has 60 pitches through 6 innings and it's just dominated, okay, fine, then they'll keep them in. But I can't tell you last time I remember watching a complete game.
do you remember that game, John, when it was the Nationals and the Dodgers and Kershaw was playing well?
Mhm.
And he threw out a couple of guys, and then the game got the game changed
Mhm.
when Washington scored that first run and said, "Oh, here we go."
Yeah, but my thing is
You
this.
take him out, and then
My
the
thing
game
is-
changes.
But my thing is this also. If you're taking the pitcher out by the 5th or 6th inning, you must really be relying on your bullpen.
Yeah.
Because how
And
many
9
times?
out of 10 times, the bullpen is not there either.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
How many
Like-
times have we seen a guy look at DeGrom, look at Verlander, look at Chris Sale? How many times have we seen them get pulled? The bullpen comes in, and all of a sudden, when they had a 3-0 lead going into the 5th inning, all of a sudden their team is playing catch up because they're down 5-3.
John, here, better yet, look at when you have a double header, right? You're scheduled a double header, and you're going 20 innings.
Mhm. Yeah.
I've seen it where the games are going 20 innings. You're going through the entire bullpen.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
trying
no,
to have a
position
moment ago
players
when I-
pitching.
I'm trying to have a moment again when I throw the bottle. By the way, I don't think I ever picked up that bottle yet.
Don, it's okay. Let's let Hijacker take over again and hijack this. show.
Sorry, hijacker.
It's okay. We get on the tangents. It's okay.
It's all good, man. It's all good. All right, so we'll continue to roll on. We talked a little bit about the A's, so we're gonna roll on into where we at Texas. Here, we're gonna go to Texas. As you see, they were part of a blockbuster trade with my team a couple weeks ago, with Crush going out there and Elvis Andrus coming out to the Bay Area. I've been watching Crush the first couple of days. He still got that same swing he had with us the last year and a half. I hope this guy finds his swing. But out here right now, we got some stars out there, and Joey Gallo. This guy here is their future. This guy here, they need to build around him. They need to get quality players that'll help. How would you say? Help. Trying to look for a word, but it's not pulling. But this guy here, you got to build around him. They lost Elvis coming out here. Crush is a good piece, but he's got to get his hitting back. Kenner Falafel, how you say his name? Isaiah Kenner Falafel. Forgive me if I'm messing up his name. He's he's going to be their new shortstop with the exit of Elvis. Look for him to be the breakout star on this team this year.
I am curious to see who this guy is.
Yeah, it's Isaiah Kenner. He's hyphenated like myself, last name Falefa. I've heard of him, but I'm like me. Hijacker's not the greatest with names and words pronouncing.
It's true.
I'm not the greatest, but yes, he should be taking over for the exit of Andrus and running short. I think he's going to be the player to look out for in Texas. On their pitching rotation, I don't see anybody that grabs my attention that's projected to be their starter. I don't see that Hugh Darvish that they used to have years ago in their roster that can be the number one guy that will start the games and they'll fall upon when needed. I don't see them having that in their rotation. So Texas, to me, they got a couple prospects that they're probably going to end up bringing up. I think they're in a rebuilding year, so I think they're going to be kind of closer to the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
What are your guys' thoughts, if anybody has any thoughts on the Texas Rangers here?
I think so.
I'm just taking a look at their pitching rotation for starters.
There's nobody I know.
There's not. No. I recognize one of the guys. The guy Mike Fultinune.
Fullenwitz.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
I think he came from Kansas City, if I remember correctly. But he's the. I mean, I'll put it this way: if you have Texas coming up in your schedule, I mean, I'm just looking right now, even at their bullpen. There's really nobody there that I'm going to sit there and go, oh my God, I don't want to face him.
Yeah.
This team is really, I'm just looking right now. I'm just getting through the depth chart quickly here. I mean, you got Chris Davis in left field for them. You have, like you mentioned, Joey Gallo. Those are really the only two guys that really scare me in that whole lineup.
Yeah.
And that's basically your designated hitter and one of your outfielders.
They do have a great third baseman in Brock Holt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you'll recognize that name, right?
Why do you think I looked up at you?
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, I agree though. I think they're going to be. I don't want to say they're going to be bottom of the AL West, but I can't see them make it. I see them, and I know I'm kind of looking way ahead right now towards trade deadline. I see them right now being one of those teams that's a seller on the trade deadline.
I think the Rangers are going to be the fourth team in their division.
But what's funny is looking at the way this Rangers team looks now. I remember back to the Rangers days when you had Rafael Palmeiro, you had Pudge Rodriguez.
Yep.
You had a certain Alex Rodriguez. That team was dangerous back in the day. This team is like the total opposite.
Hamilton, too.
Yeah, Josh Hamilton.
Oh, I remember the years of Josh Hamilton. I think Elvis Andrews was young during those years. Adrian Beltre.
Yep.
Nelson Cruz. I mean, they had a great roster. It really is too bad that they did not win the World Series that year, but it produced one hell of a World Series in general with St. Louis. That has to be, besides the Red Sox won. Rangers Cardinals, probably my favorite World Series matchup in the last 20 years.
Yeah. Absolutely. But
now coming out of Texas, also a guy that came in the trade with Crush was catcher Jonah Heim. This guy had some spark with Oakland last year, so this is a guy I would say watch out for. But I do believe Jose Trevino is going to be the starting catcher for the team. But I won't be surprised if this becomes Jonah Heim's team in a couple more years.
Right.
In my opinion, because I got to sit there. And then one of my favorite names, Rodney Odor. Oh, I love when they pronounce that dude's name at the Coliseum. Everybody kind of looks at each other and says, one hell of a name, but Rodney Odor.
Just hearing it come from your lips is a hell of a
It's
name.
like, what?
What? Yep. What you just say?
Yeah, other than that, there's a couple of guys on the roster that'll provide some spark, but I don't see Texas being any more than last or second to last in the division.
Yeah,
they're not going to be that great.
Yeah, they're not going to make any
run.
Yeah,
any run. No. Especially like we said before, you have Oakland, you have Houston, and then you have one other team who I think is going to be if they're not part of the race, I would think that they would be the dark horse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In that AL West.
Definitely. All right, so let's move up a little bit more north to me up in the state of Washington. We will go with the Seattle Mariners, which last year they weren't expected to do much, but do you guys remember was it 2019 they started 13-3?
Yeah,
something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Started 13-3, and I have a couple of friends and coworkers that are Seattle Mariner fans, and they were pushing me around. But what happened after that first month of the season? They were under 500.
Mhm.
Okay, so now the biggest thing about them is they got probably one of the biggest superstars to start coming up in Kyle Lewis. This guy is legit. I think this guy is going to be the next King Griffey Jr.
I was just about to ask you something with Seattle Mariners. Didn't Ken Griffey Jr. just went into the main office for Seattle?
I haven't looked on it, but he might have.
I'll take a look at that game. Or actually,
Because I know
that's fine.
that his name
Already
came
on
up. I know he went into the Hall of Fame, but his name just came up with something with one of the main offices. I don't know if it was Major League Baseball or the Seattle.
Well, here's the thing. We're talking about Seattle. They have the pieces there. I mean, I'm just looking right now. You got Paxton and Sheffield rotation. Here's the name that Yankee fans should remember. Rafael Montero
Oh, yes.
is their closer. This team, I had another team as my dark horse, but looking over this team quickly, this team could make not a run, so to speak, but this team could
They'll make
possibly.
some noise.
Yeah, they're not going to be a team to take lightly.
Yeah, if they don't get, I'm gonna say they're gonna be third, but I have a feeling they're gonna be a spoiler. They're gonna knock some teams around that are, hey, we're gonna go into Seattle, we're gonna get this win, but Seattle's gonna come out and be like, nah, man, we may not be going anywhere. We may have a sniff at the wild card because I don't know. Have you guys looked at the playoff round this year? Is it similar to what they did last year? Because I did not,
I'm not
like
even
what they
sure.
did last year.
No, it is not. That
They're going back to
that
normal.
and the universal DH are not in the cards for this season.
Okay, so they're going back to baseball normal per se with that, correct?
Yes, double headers will be 7 innings, like it was
Yes.
last season.
Yes.
Which
is
but
fine
the
with
other
me.
two, the playoffs being expanded, I was whatever, cool. I get more baseball.
Yeah.
I really wanted the universal DH back. I really think it just should be universal DH all around.
Yeah, it should, man. They should have it DH, but National League diehards will digress and tell us different. You know, they
Yeah,
say, no,
because
no,
there's
no,
nothing
American
more
League needs to
exciting
go.
than watching the pitcher come up to bat, hit a slow roll to third, off to first, and it's an out as the pitcher slowly jogs up the first base line. Let's grow the game, kids. Let's get the kids to watch baseball.
Now, another guy to keep an eye out on is a lot of people are up there in Seattle are saying is going to have a breakout season is Justice Sheffield and pitcher James Paxton. Now, Paxton, I haven't seen him much, but I've heard good things about him. But I think their ace is going to be Marco Gonzalez. I think that's this team's ace. I believe he's going to be their opening day guy. But those are two guys to keep an eye out on is Justice Sheffield and James Paxton.
Sheffield, if I remember correctly, I'm just looking up quickly, I think came in because he was originally with the Yankees.
Yes.
I just don't remember what he was traded for, though. Because I remember he was in like a pretty big trade with them. Let's see here.
Real quick, I found it with Ken Griffey Jr. Ken Griffey Jr. is a majority owner of the Seattle Sounders soccer team.
Okay.
As
So
of
he bought into
November.
soccer.
What's that?
He bought into soccer, huh?
Yes, sir.
Huh. All right.
The thing is,
Yeah, it's part of the Major League Soccer.
no, the thing is, I was looking up the thing with Sheffield. Sheffield was part of the trade when they traded for, oh, good boy. Oh, wonderful. Seattle traded Paxton. He was in the Paxton deal.
Yes.
Oh, boy.
That was when Seattle traded left-handed pitcher James Paxton to the Yankees for Sheffield, Eric Swanson, and Dom Thompson Williams. It's actually kind of funny. They traded Paxton to the Yankees for Sheffield, and now Paxton's back on the team again.
Yep.
What's he playing? Hot potato, hot potato?
Pretty much.
Yeah. The other thing with Ken Griffey Jr. that I saw, he is a part of the baseball ops for Seattle. He's the special consultant to the franchise. Don't know what that means.
What? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly,
terrific.
it sounds like one of those titles that, like, look, he is one of the reasons why I'm a massive baseball fan. And maybe it's just one of those, we're going to keep you in the organization after your playing days, and here's your title. It basically means nothing, but here's your title to say you're in the organization.
Yeah, absolutely. But hijacker, let's go to the final team.
Final team will be the Anaheim Angels, which, in my opinion, I don't want to say they're going to be the last place team, but it's going to be between them and the Rangers, in my opinion. I could be wrong.
I think they're going to be my dark horse team.
Yeah, I kind of picked them to be a sleeper.
Yeah, that's just looking. I'm not even looking at the team itself. Looking at their pitching rotation, you got Dylan Bundy, you have Ohtani, and you have Alex Cobb. Alex Cobb did decent when he was with Tampa Bay. Ohtani is somebody else we have to look at, who's just coming back from surgery. And Bundy, when he was with Baltimore, he was being looked at as one of their futures. Just going down quickly, bullpen I'm going to skip over because really nobody jumps out at me. Catching, you got Suzuki, Pujols at first. You got Anthony Rendon at third. You got Jose Iglesias at short. Upton's in left. Trout's in center, backed up by Juan Lagares, former Met. Dexter Fowler's in right. So the team, they have the pieces.
Right.
So
I mean, they've got arguably the best baseball player in the league right now, Mike Trout.
Yeah,
I mean,
Exactly. I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
He's going to probably be MVP, but other than Ohtani, who on that pitching staff in that rotation is going to hold?
No one.
That's where they may be able to score 5-6 runs a game, but if you're giving up 6-7 runs a game,
You're doing nothing good
It's
about
not going to cut the mustard.
yeah, and you can't allow, because last year with Oakland, we allowed our bullpen to run too much. Our starting pitcher was getting knocked out in the 4th and 5th inning, but then we were stressing our bullpen out by running the innings 5 through 9. You can't do that.
Just to pick it back off, Jack, remember them games we would be talking about sports sometimes while watching wrestling, and you'd be like, what the hell are they doing? Because like the games would be like 9-8 or 8-7 or 10-9. You're like, or 10-8? What is going on?
Yeah.
What are they doing? Come on. I'm like, exactly. Because you can score all the points you want in any sport, basketball, football, baseball, hockey, whatever, all the goals and stuff. But you got to know how to have those key players, because if you don't have the key pitching along with the key offensive weapons, you're not going to do squat.
True. Very true. We'll see. They're stat man, they're your sleeper. John, you think they're going to be, the creeper? I don't think their starting rotation is going to hold. One guy that you got a pitcher who's also your DH, man, he's going to be worn out by the end of the season, man.
I agree with Hijacker on this. I don't think the Angels are going to do too great, because
well, I think if you're the Angels and you know what you're getting with Ohtani, you also have another DH.
Yeah, you have Pujols.
You could always flip-flop between them.
Yeah.
And realistically, with the age Pujols is right now, I think he could become not the everyday DH, because I think he'll play first once in a while. But I think he will be DHing a lot more, especially with the fact Ohtani's coming off major surgery.
Yep. And he's older than what he said he was.
Yeah.
The article that John was reading, I read further, and they're saying it's potentially 3 years older. But the Dominican, where he came from, has always been rumored and proven to be fudging around with the ages of a lot of their players. So this really doesn't surprise me all that much.
No. Go ahead, Hijacker.
Okay, but my thing is whether you come into the league at 21 or 25 saying you're 21, if you can play and you stay healthy, dude, hats off to Pujols. He has had a longevity type career. He's been in the league for how long now?
Since 01.
All those years with St. Louis.
Mhm.
Then he got that big ass unheard of contract at the time to come play for what was it? 10 years?
10 years, yeah.
10 years, $240 million deal.
Until Tatis blew that up last week.
Yeah.
But the guy has longevity. So if he's 41 or 44, the same age as me, shit, I wish I could be out there playing with him right alongside him at 44 years old, man. So I'm not going to hate on that or shake my head. It's kind of like the steroid era in the 80s with Canseco, Rafael Palmeiro,
And
Barry
the 90s.
Bonds.
The 90s. Yeah.
McGuire.
You had McGuire, Sosa,
Yeah.
Bonds,
Roger Clemens. Now, that's their business. If you want to juice for your benefit in the game, I don't care. But when you're 60, tell me how you're feeling when your nuts are this big and you're freaking sweating like you just ran a marathon and you're sitting on the damn couch at home.
Exactly.
And I know we get on these tangents here, and I know we do this, but you bring up the steroid era when it comes to baseball. Look at a guy like the great David Ortiz with the Red Sox and other great and the other great players that have been accused of being on the juice. Why are we not saying, oh, well, they shouldn't be considered Hall of Fame players? Come on, guys.
Well, David Ortiz is going to have the steroid allegations, as well as he was a DH primarily throughout his career. So there's already two things against him with the BBWAA.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And
But every time they tested him,
yeah, he came back clean.
He's come back clean.
Yeah.
They don't even find a little bit of a trace in him.
Yeah, but I mean, look at all these guys who are in even the Hall of Fame. Bring up the whole Hall of Fame thing. You're still going to get those writers who are going to sit there and go, "Well, I'm not going to vote for him because it's the old thing of guilt by association."
Well, then you know what? If that's the case, if they think that Alex Rodriguez, A-Rod, our favorite golden boy son, godson of the dadgum universe, is going to get into the Hall of Fame, why? Because he took steroids and admitted that he took steroids years
He was under federal investigation.
Correct.
Okay, hold on. This is where this shit with this whole steroid thing has to come to an end. Look at somebody like Rafael Palmeiro, for example.
Yes.
The guy has Hall of Fame numbers, but will never get into the Hall of Fame because of that. He was at Capitol Hill. He's like, I took steroids.
Check this
I'm sorry.
out.
Hold on. I'm going to say this. If you admitted you took the steroids, that's different. That's different.
Okay, but even that though, but how many guys are in the Baseball Hall of Fame now who got in and who probably took steroids, but because testing was different back then, we're not going to start questioning them.
Yeah.
That's true.
Because baseball dates back into the mid 1800s, I'm sure there's some pretty unsavory characters in the Hall of Fame right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the BBWAA is all about character. It's why Kurt Schilling is not in the Hall of Fame, because character speaks volumes instead of
He
the play on
literally
the diamond.
told them, take me off the ballot.
I know.
And they
it's like the
said
Veterans Committee
no.
will get them in. The Veterans Committee will get Kurt Schilling in. You know, Alex Rodriguez, I had such an issue a couple of years ago when Derek Jeter got in the Hall of Fame. I have no problem with him being a Hall of Famer. I have 1,000% a problem with him being a unanimous Hall of Famer. Babe Ruth is a unanimous Hall of Famer. Ken Griffey Jr. is a unanimous Hall of Famer. Lou Gehrig is a unanimous Hall of Famer. Derek Jeter is not a unanimous Hall of Famer. He's only talked about as a great defensive shortstop because of one fluke catch in 1996.
Jeremy Johnby was still
Hall of
safe.
Famer.
Jeremy Johnby was still safe.
Exactly.
Ding.
No, but take a look at this. Barry Bonds.
Mm-hmm.
Mark McGuire.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Jose
Two Hall of
Canseco.
Famers.
Yes.
Sammy Sosa.
Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer.
Rafael Palmeiro.
Hall of Famer.
Okay. Those 5 guys I just named. Take a look at them their rookie season. How big were they?
Minor. They were tiny.
They were big as my finger. Fast forward to the early mid, maybe 93, 94. Barry Bonds coming to the Giants. Dude was yoked and swole.
Mm-hmm.
Canseco, big ass upper body. McGuire was jacked when he left the A's in 96 to go to was it 97 to go to St. Louis.
Yep.
And who almost Sammy Sosa. He was a beanpole when he came up with the Cubs, but then all of a sudden when he was going head to head with McGuire for the home run record, he was yoked.
And that's why there's an asterisk next to both their names in the Hall of Fame.
And I'll make the argument too that some of the even greater sports athletes that have been in other sports like football, basketball, boxing, tracking, all that good stuff.
Yeah,
they've taken the performance enhancement drugs.
There's only one person I will ever recognize as the home run king.
Hank Aaron.
Hank Aaron.
But
God rest his soul. He is the only one I will recognize as the home run king.
Okay, but here's the thing also. We're forgetting. This is where baseball gets very interesting also. Because you mentioned Bonds. Look at somebody who some can say is one of, and I'm specifically saying one of, the greatest pitchers. Roger Clemens.
Mm-hmm.
The guy's
was
won
great before the steroids.
But here's the thing, though. The guy's won multiple Cy Young Awards. He's won multiple World Series. But the guy won't get into the Hall of Fame because of the steroid thing. What other sport can you think of where your home run king and your one pitcher who's had multiple Cy Young Awards are not in the goddamn Hall of Fame?
Right.
Again, I said earlier, the BBWAA, they take character, they take PED use, they hold them to such a high regard. Look, guys, like enough with the old hat. Like, yeah, Hank Aaron is the home run king. Barry Bonds has more, obviously. Hank Aaron to me is a home run king too. Doesn't diminish Barry Bonds being a Hall of Famer. Get him in. Get Roger Clemens in because he was a Hall of Fame pitcher before he went to the Yankees and took steroids. Get maybe a Jose Canseco. I mean, on his numbers alone, yeah, you can say he's a Hall of Famer, but Mark McGuire should be in the Hall of Fame too. And if you want to compromise, we can't put them in individually. Okay, create a wing in Cooperstown called the steroid era.
Yep.
Oh,
Okay.
all those guys are in.
Okay, we're
Call
talking
it
about
the
guys who
80s Hall of Fame because look at that. Ruben Sierra, Darryl Strawberry. All these guys were bean poles coming into the league. But when they left, when Sierra was on the Yankees in the late 90s, the dude was jacked.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember him looking like that in the early 90s with the A's.
Okay, but here's the thing also. We're talking about guys who should be in the Hall of Fame. Another player who I will say to this day should be in the goddamn Hall of Fame, and he never took steroids. Does anybody want to guess who I'm thinking of?
Who you got, Johnny?
Pete Rose.
Oh, because he gambled. Because he gambled. That dude, hell of a player. He broke the rules.
Okay, but here's the thing, though. He broke the rules, and I understand that.
Yeah. I don't think he should be banned completely. He's already paid his price over the last 35
He could go in
years.
as a manager.
Exactly.
Yeah, but he even broke the rules as a manager.
Actually, yeah, he broke the rules as a manager. He didn't break the rules as a player.
No.
Yeah, you don't have to acknowledge his management. You just acknowledge him as the player.
And then, talking about Pete Rose, look at the stuff that he has done even after baseball.
Yeah.
I mean, he goes to the, transition to wrestling for a second to the WWF, and the fans loved him right away because he was a character. He found a way to be prominent within that realm of professional wrestling. When he came out in Boston and said, "Yeah, last time I was there, we kicked your ass at WrestleMania 14 when he was in the ring cutting his promo." The guy knew how to talk in front of a crowd because the guy had charisma. The guy was a character. And even Pete Rose has said on Chris Russo's show, "Dude, I don't know what is wrong with these people. They need to let me in because you know what? If I'm in the Hall of Fame, I wouldn't be surprised when I'm dead."
Oh, but here's the thing also. But here's the thing also. We're talking about guys, and we're going to wrap up after this conversation. This conversation is going great. We're talking about guys who should be in the Hall of Fame. And Pete Rose, I will say that till the day I die. Roger Clemens, Barry Bonds. But if we're going to talk about those guys in, I think there's one other guy who has to get put in.
Who's that?
Shoeless Joe Jackson.
You took it out of my mind, you motherfucker.
Right.
Took that out of my mind.
I figured he was going there. I just couldn't picture it.
I knew he was going there.
Eight men out.
That is the greatest baseball player of all time, hands down. But if he didn't have that 1918, 1919 scandal in the World Series with the White Sox, that dude could have been better than Babe Ruth.
Yeah. We didn't have the Black Sox scandal. Shoeless Joe would have been in the Hall of Fame years and years
He
ago.
could read that ball better than goddamn Ted Williams of the Boston Red Sox.
Yep. One of
But
the best ever.
If that's the case, well, then why the hell are we not bitching about Tom Brady, who likes to deflect his fucking footballs in the 2015 season against the Colts?
Because he got drunk and threw his trophy from boat to boat.
By the way, quick thing on that. Quick thing. The last week they interviewed the daughter of the guy who created the Lombardi Trophy.
Yes,
and she wants an apology.
Yes,
from Tom Brady.
Why? Because why? And I'm not the biggest Brady fan, but I will defend him on this. Why? The guy was having fun. He just won his 7th Super Bowl. Give me a freaking break.
I remember reading that story, seeing the news, and I'm like, okay, here you go, lady. Here's your 15 minutes of fame. It's honestly 14 minutes and 59 seconds more than you deserve.
I
Because
think
it's a trophy. Congratulations for being upset that the guys were having fun in the parade. It's a trophy.
I think it's only because it was on a boat.
Kevin, I'll come back and retort this. I think Vince Lombardi should go on the screen. What the hell is going on here?
Hold on.
You know what? How about this? You know what will really make her upset? If they renamed it from Vince Lombardi to the Tom Brady Super Bowl trophy.
All right.
Yes.
Blast some more.
Yes. You know what? At this point, I don't care. If they do it, they do it. They don't. Who cares?
I know.
But if they do it,
no, they're gonna leave it at the Vince Lombardi.
Yeah,
it'll be the Vince Lombardi trophy.
They are. I'm just saying. Yeah.
Run the play again, boys. Run it again. That's all Vince would tell his crew.
Yep.
What was it with the Packers? What was that run? God dang it! It's at the tip of my tongue. It was a run he always ran. It was the halfback between the tackle and the guard. The hell was that play? And that's all they ran against the Raiders in Super Bowl II, and they beat the shit out of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
But continue on, John. I know we're getting close to wrapping up.
Wrap it up. We're in overtime now.
Shit, we are.
This is what happens when you have great discussions that come out of nowhere. This is what's great. Is when you start talking about one thing, it can transition into a whole new topic just like that.
Okay, but guys, for an anniversary show, this was outstanding. So let's go around the horn quickly. Final thoughts, Hijacker. We'll go to you first.
But you guys can catch me on Twitter at Mr. Mac, MISTAMACC. If you guys happen to be in the Bay Area, you can catch me out at the Oakland Coliseum. I live there. My wife says if I ever kick you out, you can go straight there and live. I'm trying to get us the President Dave Cavill to come on in the near future, so maybe I can ask him then if I can get me a suite to live in if I do. But catch you guys on the flip side.
Absolutely. Carl, what about you? Final thoughts?
Final thoughts is we did an amazing job as always. I love we had Mother Marissa on. It was great talking with her. Guys, It's been a pleasure talking with you tonight. Hope to catch you guys tomorrow when we have Scott Stanford on. And you can catch me at Twitter on Smoke452.
Statman?
So I got one final thought. It's going to be about the Houston Astros. So last year, they lucked out. They didn't have a crowd to really go and give them any type of hell.
It's on this year.
Oh, it's definitely on this year. I hope you guys are ready. Buckle up. Okay.
I hope they put our games on national TV because I think we're going to give it to them the worst out of everybody else. Sorry for cutting you off, Statman, but
no. I'm with you. watching that team in 2017, I'm like, this team is stacked. They're going far. Oh my God, this team is awesome. And then to find out a couple of years later of what they were doing and how elaborate it was, that you ruin livelihoods of fringe pitchers, of fringe players.
Banging
Like
on
that
the
doesn't
trash
sit
can in
well
the
with me.
hallway.
And I understand that every other team has gone and done cheating before. I get it. The Red Sox were caught, the Yankees were caught. Okay, it was nothing compared to this.
Yeah.
So Jose, Carlos Correa, all those other guys that all last year tried to go and say, we're the victims here, not you guys. We're the ones getting ridiculed. Oh, you're gonna get pitch slapped so hard this year
Yep.
by the fans. Even
yeah.
if it's only 12% capacity, they're gonna make their voices heard.
Oh yeah.
And just talking about what you're talking about there, I don't remember what year it was, if it was 17 or 18. It was one of those years when they faced the Yankees. And
That
Altuve
was
hit that
17.
17. Okay, and Altuve hit that home run, and the game could have gone to the seventh game. It was that close. It was overtime. He hit that home run. I was like, oh my, what a shot by Altuve. You know, that was a great shot. And then come to find out again a couple years later, you're like, whatever, they cheated.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
That's why-
you know, just like, you know, even though the Patriots have cheated with some of their stuff, deflating balls or the Spygate, whatever. I get that, whatever, you know, whatever. But this,
No, every team does it.
but
In the football, every team records somehow.
Yeah,
They
but
just got caught.
But the Astros did this on a whole new grander scale. This
Oh
is
yes, this was a bigger scandal than the Patriots at all.
And Manfred covered it up and helped them out by not suspending a player at all and
Right.
only whacking Hinch for a year and allowing him to come back.
And I'm going to say this, as much as I love the Red Sox, Alex Cora said the best thing in the world. I got caught. I paid my price.
Mm-hmm.
I'm back to doing what I love, coaching.
Couldn't have said it best. Couldn't have said it best. Agree.
Because I did my time. You know what? Be a man to do your time. And real quick, Hijack and Mike, that was the Packers sweep was the play.
Packers sweep. Yeah. Lombardi would have them run it 1,000 times to perfect it. That was his baby.
That was because he developed it originally for the Giants for Frank Gifford.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And when he went to Green Bay, he brought it with him.
Yep.
Destroyed the league with it.
Yep.
He just killed the league with it, dude.
That
And you knew
was
it
their
was coming.
secret play.
Yep.
Mm.
All right.
You can go and follow me, by the way, on Twitter at xrivam13, XRIVAM13.
Absolutely. Stevie Wonder?
You can find me on Twitter at Steven_Wyan, posting all things sports, professional wrestling, music, and all that fun sorts of stuff.
Final thoughts from me. The fact that this show is where we are now and where we're headed, this show has a bright future. I'm just going to say this right now. The crew that we've established here has been an awesome crew with everybody's help behind the scenes as well. I also want to thank Hijackers, you especially, for doing all the clips over the last couple of weeks for the show. I also want to thank RA for doing all the graphics. Because if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have the graphics that you see when we do our interviews or what you see with the banner. But most importantly, I do want to thank Joe for giving us the opportunity to do the show and greenlighting the show. I know, Joe, I know you bust my chops and all. And I know in a couple of weeks, there'll be an entire nation show of that, busting my chops. But overall, though, Joe, I got to thank you for giving us, but giving me especially this opportunity to kind of do a spin-off off the spin-off.
And also, just a quick another reminder. Once again, if you are not a part of the Busted Open Nation Discord server, it will be in the description. It is discord.gg/Busted Open Nation. That's where you can catch our Discord exclusives on the Nation Show. And tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Scott Stanford will be joining us to talk all things sports.
Absolutely. And then the other thing I also want to mention, since we brought up the nations, I just want to look up something quickly, make sure I get the right date here. Yes. I want to send a quick congratulations to our friends at the Nation Show. Next week, 1 year.
1 year anniversary.
1 year,
for them.
baby. We started this journey, man, all because of COVID.
So
Exactly.
want to send a shout out to them on 1 year. Man, it's been a great run between that and what we started here. And both shows, I think, have a bright future.
We're going somewhere. You know, both of these shows are turning out great. Great guests, great interviews, all that fun jazz, and we're going to keep doing what we're doing.
Hey,
Yep.
we're gonna keep kicking ass and taking names.
We're all getting in the car, and Steven's taking us to the stadium.
Hey, like I said, if I drive, like I said before, if I drive, we die.
Yes.
I drive, we die.
Also, one quick programming note: in a couple of weeks, the Nation Show will have a special, and I'm promoting this because I'm kind of the center of attention for that said episode. They will be a roast of me. So look forward to that.
Yeah.
But
Oh boy.
yeah,
That's going to be fun.
yep. But for Hijacker, for Carl, for Statman, for Steven, I'm John. In the words of Billy Joel, life's a set of hellos and goodbyes. Unfortunately, it's time to say goodbye. Should have done this a little bit quicker. But
Be square, beware.
we'll catch you guys next time on Our Nation's Sports Show. And now I just lost everything now. Give me a second.
Stay hot, you mutts.
Damn it, Bobby. Haven't done like they pull that dadgum clip.
Yeah, give me a second here. Hold on. Take two. Okay. Let's catch you guys next time. Again, catch us tomorrow for a Discord exclusive interview with Scott Stanford.